fighting is far from over.
Not for this exercise.
Welcome to Back of the Rack, a gaming videocast about games long neglected and not respected, games that everyone's heard of or hated, or no one's heard of and loved. We play the games in between the essentials and the unwanted, but mostly, we play what we want on this podcast. Join our Discord where you can talk with us and others about Back of the Rack games, and make sure to like and comment on our videos and leave good reviews on the podcast feeds. Your feedback and engagement is the fuel that keeps us going. We hope everyone watching and listening is doing great, and we thank you for joining us today on another episode. Starting off, we will introduce this month's game with a scripted segment giving you all the details, and then we will go into our unscripted thoughts about the game shortly afterwards. I'm Sandy, and with me always is Ben Desert, so without further ado, enjoy.
Alpha Protocol is a one-of-a-kind game. The Espionage RPG takes place in a world not unlike our own. You play as Michael Thornton, whose history is left up to the player to choose before the story starts. He's being recruited into a secret government agency. Once you've aced the recruitment exam that acts as the tutorial, you're given your first assignment as Michael, taking out the leader of a Saudi Arabian-based terrorist group. So when Michael arrives on location and finds his target, he is ambushed by Halbeck, a weapons manufacturer and the main benefactor to the secret government agency Michael is now working for, otherwise known as Alpha Protocol.
You're on your own. Alpha Protocol's the only thing protecting you right now.
Yeah, the spy organization you just joined and are on your first mission for set you up. So in the midst of the chaos and confusion, a passenger plane is shot down, with Michael being blamed for this terrorist attack. This sets up a globe-trotting adventure wrapped up in government conspiracies, presidential assassinations, gang wars, coups d'etats, and a myriad of other war crimes that you're tasked with preventing. Now, whether you're successful in these operations is where the true tension is found for the player experience. Can you uncover the conspiracy against Agent Thornton?
End credits then. Let's go.
It's a story that's unique and gripping for 2010. At least in the world of video game storytelling. Players have multiple dialogue options that can greatly impact the story and gameplay, with the world inhabited by memorable characters and some early 2000s dialogue sprinkled throughout. Its world becomes inspired even through the blurry textures and drab color palette. Using your espionage arsenal of lying, swindling, and threatening, you are able to use any means at your disposal. Well, almost. But Alpha Protocol does make a great attempt at selling the illusion. Throughout this Jason Bourne-inspired spy thriller, players can purchase intel off the various black markets in each region, making levels easier by granting you access to hidden passageways, or even entire maps for said levels. You can grease the palms of dissatisfied guards to abandon their posts, thus ensuring you'll face less opposition. Even how you answer emails and video chats can drastically change the layout of levels and the dialogue events that occur in them. Employing the tried and true third-person stealth action format, you can hide behind cover, albeit a bit clunkily, and take out enemies one by one in shootouts, or run in, taking them out swiftly with close-quarter combat, though it doesn't necessarily feel good. As you progress and level up, you can spec into many different skill trees that enhance your spy abilities. You can become a techie that can instantly open any lock digitally or otherwise. Want to go in commando style? Well, it's not really advised because combat is the weaker part of Alpha Protocol, but if you wanted to for some reason, just focus on one of the many firearm skill trees and become a master of guns. Each skill tree has multiple active and passive abilities that shape how you engage with the world of Alpha Protocol. I know one of our favorites was CQC, allowing you to slow down time and take less damage as you run in to dispatch the many thugs or special operatives you might run into on the field. Or alternatively, you could use one of the stealth abilities to become invisible, giving you the edge in positioning yourself in the game's many well-animated stealth takedowns. All these mechanics feed directly into a rewarding gameplay loop. Gearing up in Alpha Protocol means equipping any weapon or armor, each with their own perks and attachments that further augment them. You could give yourself extra gear slots to bring extra gadgets into the field. And for those of us with flashier tastes, deck out a golden AK-47 with a laser sight. Yeah, sure, I don't know why. Let everyone know you're coming in a spy game. When you're done choosing your gear, pick from a handful of curated operations in a region. Those regions being Rome, Moscow, and Taipei, each with a main operation to complete in those regions. You can even tackle these in any order, with each giving a very, shall we say, distinct atmosphere. Alpha Protocol's development is a common tale often heard here on Back of the Rack. Ambitious developers promised by publishers a lofty IP that will live on for years, only for it to be ruined by major staff turnover, troubled development, an unpolished release, and lackluster sales. Critics and gamers were largely mixed on Alpha Protocol. Some stated the gameplay was unpolished and buggy, with it being an obvious palette swap of another, more popular space opera released at the time, while others fell in love with the characters and the writing and the potential Alpha Protocol had as a series, hoping for more refinement in the sequel. Ultimately, it was left to be a forgotten title only remembered by the few that were able to see the diamond in the rough. In the present, Alpha Protocol's rising popularity has been due to it being threatened with deletion from digital storefronts forever. But Alpha Protocol trudges on, an ode to early 2000s humor, drama, and sensibilities, inspired by the James Bonds and Jason Bournes of the world. But finding its own footing in the spy genre, Alpha Protocol is left to be recalled as a title that had so much potential but missed the mark enough to never see a true sequel or remaster. Now fortunately, that means that it's a perfect title to feel the warm nostalgic embrace of Back of the Rack. Here we are again with the last episode.
Another
ever.
season finale. I would say ever.
Hey, we never. Wait, so is the season finale this episode, or is it?
Yeah.
Are we gonna do? Okay, so we're not gonna count
this
like.
is it.
Okay, no, I don't know, but like we were talking about the Halloween episode,
Yeah.
and we always include that at the back of the, at the like for the BOTR awards. So I'm just like,
Yeah, but that's like a special. So
true. Yeah,
we'll save it.
and
We'll save it.
It's inconsistent a lot of the time too. We didn't do it last year or the year before. No, we did.
No, we did Fatal Frame last year, didn't we?
No, we did Resident Evil.
We did 6, and then we did.
No. Operation
What did we
Raccoon
do?
City. No, Operation Raccoon City wasn't for Halloween, was it?
That was just a BOTR, wasn't it? But it just so happened to come around. I don't know.
I don't know what we're doing anymore. Fatal Frame, I think, was 2 years ago.
Don't say that, bro. Please. What the fuck, bro?
That was 8 seasons ago
Nigga,
when we
that
got
was
canceled
7
and then
years
renewed.
Oh yeah, we had to switch networks. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
Adult
we
Swim
switched
picked us up.
networks.
Yeah.
We're with Netflix now, yeah. Damn, we're rebooting, starting with the new season 1. But yeah, so this is the last episode of season 4.
Don't say 5 now.
I was about to, dude. I don't know.
The 5 sneak peek is at the end of this episode. It's mine. It's not at the beginning.
Right. No, the sneak peek is always at the end
It's
of
at the
BOTR
awards. It's at the awards.
Yeah.
See, look at me, not knowing what the fuck's going on.
We don't know what we're doing.
Where am I? I don't know what I'm doing. This is not where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, this is broadcasting from a whole different home. You're in a whole different space, whole different chapter, really. It's a whole different chapter for you.
Yeah, bro. Next time y'all see me, it's gonna be a whole different. It's gonna be another different spot.
It will be, yeah. And it'll just be like that for the rest of the shows. You'll be in a different crib, hotels, you'll be at beaches, something
In
like
the
that.
forest.
Different, yeah, in the forest. Have you seen those videos where like a guy is like takes his gaming equipment and sets up a whole PC and all that in the middle of a forest?
See, that's too much. But I'm not gonna lie to you though. I was bored and I was looking at the Ford Lightning, the little F-150 electric truck. And it has like a bunch of outlets. It has enough outlets that you could plug up put a CRT in the back, plug it up, plug up a console, and like play it because it's all powered by the car. And I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. That'd be pretty sweet.
It's the ultimate
Gaming
tailgate
outside.
car.
Yeah, tail gaming. It would
Tail game. See, hold on.
Yeah.
Copyright that right now. We gotta go.
BOTR's not even copied. Back of the. I think someone.
It's copyrighted. I be seeing, dude, you be seeing those, bro? You be seeing like the back racks on the back of trucks and shit?
But is it back of the rack? If we ever
That's a
get
great
big enough,
question.
are we gonna have to change the name?
We're gonna have to dispute with some truck niggas to like.
Or some bowling. I think I've seen some bowling videos called Back Rack.
Yeah. There's another podcast of like bowlers, I think, right? Isn't it? It's like some bowling enthusiasts, and theirs is called Back of the Rack for some fucking reason instead of like Split of the Rack or some shit.
I actually don't know. I don't know what it's called. We thought maybe. What if we changed it to just bottom of the shelf?
No, that's way worse.
Ugly.
That's way. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up right now. Bottom of.
We can't change it now. We're so.
I guarantee you, there's a podcast named The Bottom Shelf Podcast. Is a group of gamers.
Is it?
Can't do it. Can't do it. The Bottom Shelf
Wow.
Podcast is already a gaming podcast. You're gone.
What the fuck? Okay, so if you Google Back of the Rack,
Don't do
what
it. I did it the
happens?
other day, bro. It's very.
How disappointed?
It's very disappointing. We're not even like first page, bro.
Wait, hold on. No. Check this out. Back on the Rack sells women's pre-owned clothing, shoes, and accessories ranging from casual to business to formal wear. And then the second one down is our YouTube channel, Back of the Rack.
Oh, I'm on Brave. Hold on, that's why it didn't pop up for me.
Oh, yeah,
what
maybe.
the fuck is the Back of the Rack? What the fuck? And it's in Ocean City? Nigga, that's down the street. Why am I on the cover of Back of the Rack? Don't we have a whole logo? Why am I on those? What the fuck? Oh, man. Yeah, we're gonna have to sue Back on the Rack, bro. We're gonna have to get this. I'm gonna have to pull up the Ocean City and be like, hey, bro, I gotta change your name. Y'all gonna have to pay the tax. I got my niggas from Camden.
That's so close. I mean, Back of the Rack, Back on the Rack. Those are pretty similar. They could use BOTR and still be like.
Or maybe we just pull up and give them some flyers. We're like, hey, give this out to people. This is your podcast now.
Why don't we do a collab? Yeah. We'll just collaborate and then be like, we'll plug you guys, you plug us, even though they're
I know you got some games and DVDs there, bro. Come on. Fuck with us.
It's pre-owned clothing, so it's like a Goodwill kind of stuff, I'm imagining.
I guess. Use the promo code BOTR at checkout for
for a discount on your fucking Lululemon dress or whatever the fuck.
on your grandma's blouse that somebody gave
Yeah.
away.
that'd be kind of hilarious. All right. So Alpha Protocol, here we are.
Yay!
You guys knew this was coming. All right. If you didn't play, I don't know what to say because you really missed out on this one. 2009, right, was the year of our Lord and Savior Alpha Protocol.
2010.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. It came out. It was scheduled for 2009, and then came out. It was delayed, and then it came out 2010. Yeah. So the first decade in the 2000s, and a lot came out in the year leading up to it. You had a bunch of games like Uncharted 2, Neverwinter 2,
Red Dead Redemption,
Skate
3,
a bunch of Mass Effect 2, I think.
Skyrim was announced.
Like just a bunch of really good shit. And I remember when this was being advertised because I was at the time I was like getting every like major release. I was on top of it. That was like sort of when you could conceivably buy every major release.
Yeah, once a
on
month.
PS3. Yeah, exactly. Now it's just like I can't even keep up. But I remember it piqued my interest, and then the reviews came out, and I remember going on IGN.com and being like, "Oof," because what did they give it? A 6?
It was like
something.
It was like a 4. So it was something.
It was like a 5.5, and that's like kind of rare for like those games, mainstream AAA kind of releases. So I was like, I'm skipping this one, not playing it. Yeah, I remember just watching that video and being and it's crazy how much power reviewers had at that point, where you could just watch a review. I mean, they still have power to this media outlet like that. Like IGN could just be like, give this game a 5, and I would just be like, cool. Makes it easier for me. I'm not picking it up.
Nah, facts. Or going on the IGN and being like, actually, you're wrong. Patapon 2 is actually a 9 out of 10.
I was graduating high school at that point, 2010. I had just graduated, so I was on to other shit at that point.
You said I'm gone, bro. Where's the Vita at?
Yeah. What? Yeah. I started really. Man, I was like, that was probably like the time in my life where I was really, really like going in hard on games for sure. Like every day, multiple hours, shirking school. Actually, real quick sidebar here. My teachers told me that I wasn't going to graduate like regular high school. They were like, "Hey, you're missing class. You don't have enough credits. You're going to have to really, straighten up, fly right, all that nonsense." And I was like, "Fuck that. I'm going to a vocational school or a vocational school where you get like your credits faster and all that. You learn on a computer for fucking 6 weeks and then you're done.
Get a trade at the end of it and then be a HVAC or some nigga."
Wait, no, I'm sorry, not a vocational school. I went just to
I know what you're talking about.
School.
Yeah, like Job Corps or some shit where it's like you go in and you get your, I don't want to say GED, but it's
but it's like I don't know what I mean, you still get your high school diploma or whatever. So I basically did that. I like fucking dropped out of regular high school and then went to this and graduated like a couple months early. But I remember just going home playing fucking games for hours and hours. I didn't have a job at that point, so I was just like, that was all I was doing.
That's real shit. I hate this because the more lore we break out about each other, the more I realize we're the same nigga, and I hate this shit, bro. Because it was almost the same situation with me. I just broke my arm. I was just coming back. My credits was fucked up because I was moving. So I like the internships and like scholarship opportunities that I did have, I lost those. So I was like, I'm all in on this music shit. I just started rapping.
Yeah.
Niggas just finally convinced me to start rapping. So like, I'm cool in school, and niggas was like, "Oh, he's like the rapper in our school," and I was like, "All right, bet." You know what I mean? So I was feeling myself. I was hot. I was working 2 jobs because I just started working at GameStop and I was at Starbucks. So I was like, fuck this shit, bro. I'm good. And I literally went to my teacher and I said, "Bro, give me the finals right now." And they were like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Give me the final right now, bro. I'll pass this shit right now." I got the final for like
that's wild.
No, facts. I got the final for 2 of my classes, and I was like, I got a B on both of them. And I said, "I'm not coming to the school. Let me know when graduation's coming. I'll pull up then." And I realized I didn't show up. I would come to school for like first period just to get like attendance, and then I would leave by second period. Like after first period, I would just leave school. I already had a half day, so I was like, "Fuck this shit, bro. I'm gone." Like, you got my phone.
No, that's what I would do too. I would. I think I had classes all the way up till lunch, and then I had some optional classes at the end. But I would just leave. I needed those classes to graduate. That's why they were saying that I needed. Or I wasn't getting enough credits. But I was like, fuck it, I'm out of here. I just was so over school. I was just like, this, like, I'm in the home stretch now, and I'm just like, let me just go to these alternative schools, get my credits,
this shit out the way, go.
I was never even in like a proper graduation ceremony.
Oh,
like I didn't do like the whole thing.
Graduation ceremony.
Yeah, no, like the alternative school that they did had one. But I didn't fuck with anybody there, so I didn't even go. I was like, just give me my diploma. I don't want to fucking do all that.
That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do that, but then like they were like, "No, Nolan, we need you." And I'll never forget this shit, bro, because it blows the fuck out of me, bro. It's this nigga in my class. He had no arms and no legs. I could not make this shit up. And he was racist as fuck. Racist ass.
Fair enough.
He was
as one would be without any arms.
Yeah, nigga walking around with fucking stumps talking about some and I'm like, bro, like I should push you right now. Like
and he was like, what you gonna do? You gonna hit me with no arms and legs?
You gonna hit the nigga with no arms and legs? And he was the nigga right before me that walked on stage. And mind you, my last name, I'm like one of the last niggas to walk on stage, bro. Like,
yeah, because your last name,
yeah. So this nigga's in front of me, and everybody's giving him a standing ovation, clapping for this dude for like 5 minutes straight. And I have to stand here while he's on stage crying and walking and grabbing the fucking diploma and walking off and shit. Mind you, I know he's racist and shit. So I'm looking at it, I just gotta sit there while everybody's giving this nigga a standing ovation. I just gotta be like, all right, my turn now. Let me go. Because I'm like third to last. It was like him, then it was like
Yeah.
me, then it was like two more people. I'm like, bruh, just hurry up. I've been sitting here for 2 hours listening to Abigail with her. Like, stop.
That's
But when
standing
Alpha-
ovation because he was disabled.
Because yeah, when you pull up to graduation, you see the nigga with no arms and legs walk up on stage. You're like, oh my god, he's got no arms and he's got no legs. Oh my god, look how brave he is. And it's like, no, he's still an asshole. Man, he's got no
still
arms and
racist,
legs. Yeah, like, you know, what are you gonna say? Yeah,
Yeah, you know. I would have loved it if when he's like, you know, rolling past you and he's like, and you know, you like go to punch him and he's like, do it, you'll just prove him right. You'll prove him right about your race.
And that's exactly why you can't.
And he's
do
like
anything.
and he's wiggling his like his like nubs
bro.
as he's saying that.
He was an
That's what I
asshole,
imagine.
bro. He used to be like, put my backpack on. I'd be like, fuck you. Fuck
That
this
is
nigga.
wild.
But anyway,
That is wild.
Alpha Protocol
Yeah.
was back when I was a good student. Back when I was trying to be top 10 in the class and shit like that. I actually bought this game
You did
when it came
day
out.
one?
Not day one, but I bought it like a year later. Because that was around that time I just started working at the grocery store. And I would get like, I was working under the table bagging groceries. So I would get like $20 a week or something like that. And I would go and buy games. So it was one of those discount games. And I'll never forget, I put this game in my fucking Xbox. And you know, back in the day when Xbox 360s, how it used to like cut the disc. If you put them in, like there was just like this random thing where it would just make this giant ring around the disc and just make it unplayable. That's exactly what happened. Like 20 minutes into the game, it just stopped working. It cut this giant circle around the disc, and I was like, "Bruh, I just bought this game." It was just that did that to like Assassin's Creed 2. That's why I never played that, and I think it did it also to my Tenchu Z one day. And then right after that, like a week later, my Xbox red ringed again, and I just gave up. And I was like, the Wii U's coming out. Fuck this.
Well, okay, that makes sense. I didn't know that the Xbox did that, but I always wondered why they, like when you go to GameStop and they ask, you want to buy the disc warranty? And you're just like,
It's because of
what?
that.
I'm just like, why would I need to do? I'm putting this in my console and it's staying there until it goes. Like, what's
Back in the case.
what's gonna happen in between? Although
it was because
I
Xbox
would
360. It was because all their games would get ringed up, and I would always be like, "Nah, I don't need it. This is not gonna happen." And then it would fucking happen, and I would be like, "Damn."
I do want to add. Let me add this little other sidebar. This is gonna be a whole tangent and a half episode. This is but a really short tangent. So, more recently, as you saw, I was reorganizing my PS2 and PS3 games and my PS1 games, all of that, right? And I was looking at the discs and grading them or whatever on Game Eye, the game collector app or game tracker, whatever you want to call it. And I noticed that all my PS3 games are like mint condition, like the disc. I'm just like, damn, like okay, you know. And I go to my PS2 games, and I'm like, what happened here? Like, why
That's what I'm
does
saying.
every disc look like ass?
Like somebody
Like-
just said, fucking
Yeah, like-
disc, like every single one is scratched to shit. And I'm like, I know. As a kid, I used to take a disc out and then I would put it on top of the console. But in a day or two, I'm going to put it back in the case where I'm
Right.
like, all right, I got 2 games now on top of my console. Let me put this back in the case real quick so I don't fuck it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know what the part of me thinks that. Well, because even like my PS1 games don't look as bad, but I don't have as many PS1 games as I do PS2 games. But
But that's an excuse for PS1 games because they have those glass cases, so like they might break or something like that. I can excuse that.
True.
But
True.
what the
I
fuck
think-
is going on?
It is more fascinating too. I was just, you know, like going through all my games, and it's less likely that you're missing a manual with the PS1 game because the jewel case, the manual was the cover. You know what I mean?
That's true. That is true.
And I thought that was really interesting, but it made me think, I'm like, okay, with PS2 games, when they came with the manual, where the fuck did people put those things? Like, it just fucking flinging them around? Like, I don't... Like, it's so rare that you see PS1 games without their cover and the manual, although it happens, just not as frequently. So people took care of the manuals for the PS1 generation, but PS2 came along. They're like, "Oh, you could just I could take it to school, put it in my back pocket." Like, I don't know what
I
people
did have
were
a homie.
doing.
I did have a homie that used to have. He would get his games and he would immediately take them out of the same homie that showed me Persona 3. He would take them out of the cases and had this giant CD book. And he would put them in the CD book. He'd have DVDs, CDs, video games, GameCube games, just everything
all together,
in big ass in a binder. And I'm like, bro, that's not acceptable. He's like, where's Radiata Stories? And he would just flip through. And I'd be like, bro, what are you fucking doing?
That is hilarious.
Oh, the AOL disc in there and shit. Like,
I can't live like that. I just can't live like that.
I'm hip. That's why when he said to be like, yeah, caught Persona 3, and it was like mint condition. He was like, do you mind if I borrow this? I was like, fuck no. Get your own copy, bro. Like,
for you to destroy? No.
Hell no. This is mine.
Yeah, I don't know. I think disc etiquette is definitely wasn't. I mean, like even my own family members, I would let them borrow DVDs and they would destroy the DVD, like utterly. I remember I let my little brother and his half brother borrow Spider-Man 3. This shit came back chipped. I'm like, what? It's been 2 days. What are you guys doing?
Did you just fling it out of the DVD player? Like, what the fuck did you do?
It's like they opened the DVD player from across the room and then tried to land the disc into the tray as the... I don't...
Just imagine him just like, all right, you want to switch to track 2? All right.
Yeah, let's do...
Put this disc in.
Pure chaos and insanity. Pure chaos.
But to be fair, from my time working at GameStop, a lot of trade-ins was just a nigga with a backpack, and then I was thinking like, oh, okay, they got a bunch of cases, cool, and then they pull out a stack of CDs, not even in a bag or nothing like that, not even in a little folder or nothing like that, just a stack of discs of like 2K8, 2K9, 2K10, Madden 11, Madden 12. It is just no case, no nothing. I'm like, bro, I can't accept these. These are 30 cents. Like,
it makes sense. It makes sense in some way because there was CDs or physical media was more prevalent, and so that meant that there was different people that organized them differently. Because I know what you're talking about. Like, it's like when you bought blank CDs and it came just in like a fucking tower.
They would just come in with those, and I'm like,
which is insane. Yeah,
I get it for blank CDs because it's bootlegs. You're making bootlegs, you're making CDs to burn on my 360 for music and shit like that. I get it.
Yeah,
but it's actually, why are you taking your games out the case? I don't know. Maybe it's because we're collectors now. Maybe that's what it is. Because I can't say that I wasn't one of them kids that would not put the game in the case. I remember my dad used to try to beat my ass all the time about that. He'd be like, bro, put the game in the case once you're done, instead of putting it on top of the thing. And I'd be like,
right,
yeah, whatever. Until my dog gave my Lego Island CD. And then I was like, all right, I get it.
All right. Well, lesson learned.
Yeah.
It is. With Alpha Protocol, it's interesting because there was a video I saw on YouTube. I don't know if you saw it too. The one by Racevic, where they brought... Because it was delisted. This game was delisted. It wasn't available. And, well, it was available if you had the physical copy, right? But not on any, like on PC or anything like that. And what's interesting about that is that there was a time for sure when people, and I think even companies, didn't really treat the like games with any degree of respect. Like it was like a throwaway consumable, like we are collectors now, but I've always taken care of like my games to some degree. But there was a group of people that would get a NES cartridge and throw away the box like it was a fucking like...
Bro, I can't tell you. I never kept a Game Boy Advance case or a Nintendo DS case. I had how they had those like little cases that had like you could put all the games in. That's what I had for my DS and Game Boy games. And I look back on it and I'm like, I would really like a Ruby and Sapphire manual, like just a full... Pokemon, but there's a million copies of Pokemon, and I bet you 900,000 of those kids did exactly what I did and just chucked that shit, just crushed up the box, threw it away. Didn't give a shit.
Yeah, no, like there was a very disposable aspect to it, or like a very just like it's just a game. It's not like a piece of. I mean, we see it more as artful or like this, well, I guess now it's definitely, we think of it as a collector's item, so I guess it is art in some way for us, but people treated the content very differently back then. And even now, so when they're, you know, removing Alpha Protocol and removing all these things from digital storefronts and you can't access them anymore, people are like, wait, no, like these things need to be archived and available, you know, because of, it's like movies, like so much work was put into them. There's like art direction and there's, you know, value to them, at least
Somebody made the
for most of the
manual.
games.
Somebody designed that. Somebody designed
Yeah.
the box art. Somebody designed, like, they would have reverse flippables. They would have maps.
Yeah.
Like, somebody designed that. Somebody put their blood, sweat, and tears into that. Hashtag stop killing games. If you're in the European Union, please go to stopkillinggames.com and sign the petition so that we can get that passed into law so that we can stop games like Alpha Protocol, which was lucky
Yeah.
from being lost to time.
Yeah.
That's my only plug for the day.
Alpha Protocol is interesting because it was on the PS3 and 360. Was there a PC release? Yeah,
there was a
right?
PC release.
Okay.
There was a physical PC release back in the day. And
Okay, that's what I
then
thought.
the digital one, that one got removed because of music rights. And I don't think it's going to be put on PS3 or 360 stores. Rest in peace to those.
Yeah.
So it's just that. And luckily we were able to get it back because GLG was like, I got you. Same with Stranglehold. Stranglehold was gone for years. And Second Sight. Both ironically around the same, like Alpha Protocol and Second Sight both got relisted like right as we were starting to play them again. You know?
Right.
But yeah, for a long time, both of those games were, if you didn't have a PS2, PS3, or GameCube or whatever, you was not playing those games.
Right. I think it's actually just like interesting how, you know, a game like Alpha Protocol is delisted and then all of a sudden everybody's crying to play it, you know, and it's like, well, there probably would be a remaster or a republication of it or whatever if you guys were all there day one when it released as opposed to like not supporting it, because that's when the game needs you the most to survive. Because I think Sega like saw the sales numbers and was like, well, all right, we're fucking not, I mean, we're ostensibly canceling the, you know, what would be a sequel or
they were trying to push this to be a whole IP. Like they were like, this is going to be a pillar. Like we could be right now on like Alpha Protocol 6 right now for all we know.
Yeah.
Like on some Yakuza stuff.
But no one was there. And that could be because I don't know if the reviews came out a couple days before it and killed it. It certainly did for me, you know. And I think if I played it back then, I don't think I would have appreciated it anyways because it was definitely undercooked. Now it's fun to play it and be like, oh, it's some novel ideas and, you know, this and that. But back then, I mean, with fucking something mind-blowing like Uncharted 2 or Skyrim or whatever, you're just like, Alpha Protocol is following Mass Effect 2, which, you know, is a better RPG in a lot of ways. It's just, so I don't.
Yeah, and it looks, from the looks of it, it only sold lifetime sales. It only sold like 900,000 copies across all platforms. And I just realized too that the PC version had games for Windows Live, which is a death sentence. I remember when I first got into PC games, I bought Resident Evil 5, Lost Planet 2, Operation Raccoon City, ironically.
Orc.
And all of those games use games for Windows Live and are unplayable. Luckily, some of them have been patched. Some of them have not, like Lost Planet 2. So it's just like, I can't play those games at all, which is fucking sucks. But it is what it is. Well, remember Windows Vista?
Wait, you don't have the physical copy of Lost Planet 2 or?
Nah, I need to get the physical. That's one of those like that's one of the main reasons why I was like, I'm getting a PS3. Because a lot of like the PC games that I got on like Steam either don't work, like Far Cry 2, because of compatibility issues and stuff like that. I'm like, fuck this, bro. I'm just gonna buy the game. Fuck it.
Right.
So
yeah, they're kind of I mean, they're pretty gross. I was watching, of course, you know, when we're on YouTube and you're watching gameplay of a, you know, 10-year-old game and it's running at 4K 60 and you played it on the PS3.
It's
And
running
it's
at
running
15,
at like 15
480p.
frames, 720. It's just like, wow, I really had a different experience with this game. Although I have gotten used to the jank of the PS3, I will say. The screen tearing. I think we've played enough games now where I'm like, I'm
It's
kind of
okay.
cool with it. I'm like, whatever. Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's fine. I
20
live
frames,
like this.
that's okay. Like when you get 60 frames on a PlayStation 3 game for a second, it's like, whoa.
Yeah. Dynasty Warriors, some Dynasty Warriors games run pretty smoothly. I'm like, damn, this is crazy. But
yeah, but I mean, it's an era, and I think that's why it's so hard to go back to PS3 games. And
yes, for a
we'll
lot
talk
of people,
about.
yeah.
Well, actually, let's just move straight into presentation because that's a perfect segue for the presentation of this game. It runs at 15 frames a second, 720p.
I don't know what sort of computational power is going on in the background that those cutscenes that literally have one person talking in a frame. It's like a medium shot, like you would see in a movie where it's just their shoulders up. There's everything else in the background is not even rendered. It's like blurred out, but it's still running at the lowest possible frame rate.
Yeah.
And it's so baffling to me that it's just not well. I mean, there are a lot of games that weren't well optimized for the PS3.
I'm about to say Mass Effect 2 on PS3 is kind of sort of like this as well, which is kind of funny because it takes a lot of both presentation and gameplay from Mass Effect, so you can kind of see like the jank, like the faces. I vividly remember that about playing Mass Effect 1 and 2, that the faces are ass, even though the voice acting is really good and the dialogue is really good. It's like, that's not what he's saying. Like, can you show me a little more emotion?
yeah. It is that sort of a middle ground between, the PS2 style graphics and the graphics we have now, where they're like fucking full on emoting, and you're like, oh, okay, I can see the subtlety in the performance of, but there was definitely games at that time that were better than whatever. Do we know what engine that Alpha Protocol was running on? Was the Mass Effect engine?
I think it was running on just straight Unreal, I want to say.
Okay. I'm just curious because obviously
either
there was
Unreal
games,
or like Havoc engine or something like that.
Because think about this. Last of Us came out on PS3 2013, I want to say.
Yeah.
So that game was in development when this game released. Granted, we can say that technology, moves fast, and obviously the Last of Us dev team, Naughty Dog, was able to really polish up and have a lot of time to clean up those faces. But I don't know. It's sort of like the Bethesda thing where whatever engine they use just makes, it's like, what do you guys hire somebody new to rig your facial models and to animate those faces? Because they just look awful. And it's crazy because in Fallout and games like that, you're seeing someone talk for so long, you would think that the developers would be like, okay, we really want to clean this up so that it
or at
looks
least
like
make
a
their
real
eyebrows
person.
frown a little bit more or something like that.
Yeah, at least
it was on Unreal Engine, which makes a lot of sense because Obsidian was used to BioWare's proprietary engines at the time of like KOTOR and Neverwinter Nights 2. And at the same time, they were probably working on Fallout New Vegas, and they were working, from what I gather, they were also working on another dwarf Disney game, like a Disney RPG.
They were working on the Seven Dwarves.
Yes,
Snow White and the Seven Dwarves specifically.
Funnily enough, this game's failure was the reason that Pillars of Eternity, which is Obsidian's next game after this, was crowdfunded, because they just had no money because Sega fucked them, and they were like, fuck this, we're going back to our roots, we're making Pillars of Eternity, and that was luckily a success story enough to where now we're getting Avowed and Outer Wilds. This could have been it. This could have been like a lot of BOTR games where we're like, and then the company went bankrupt and no longer is alive.
What's crazy is that this game could have used a proper sequel. Like with video games, I think the iteration of the sequel usually makes it so much better. Movies are different. Like a sequel comes out it's not always better, usually worse than the first one.
Right.
But for games, it's like the second one is always the one that, almost always, the one that like gets it right. They polished this, they improved that, you know. It's so like it's so dependent on the feedback from the first one and everybody's complaints and all that. And then the second one usually just comes through. So I mean, Alpha Protocol 2, like, you know,
Yeah,
would
it
have
could
could
have
have
been
been
great.
like,
Because you
but
think about
Sega's-
even like Mass Effect, like for comparison's sake, Mass Effect 1 is a pretty, like if you replay that, even in the Legendary edition or whatever, it's still a pretty janky, ugly, really rough game. But the story carried it a lot to where by the time I got to Mass Effect 2, they can iron out the gameplay, simplify some things, and make the presentation a little bit better, add some more set pieces to where everybody's like, yeah, Mass Effect 2, that's the one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Alpha Protocol 2 could have been the one if Sega wasn't bankrolling Quantum. What's that game that the Yakuza people made at the same time? It was like Quantum Theory, I think.
Oh, the one that looks like fucking
Gears of War
Gears
and
of
shit?
War. It's like a
Yeah.
tower, like you're in a tower the whole time or some shit.
That fucking game, mind jacked and binary domain.
What are your thoughts about the overall presentation graphically about the game?
For me,
Environments and all that.
For me, I think the interface is damn near perfect on this game. The hacking and lockpicking UIs, even though I don't like them as mini games, I really do like the UI of them. Like it feels good. The only thing I dislike about the lockpicking UI is that it feels like it's like I'm here in the middle and I'm clicking the button, but it's not clicking because it's not. It's too direct on the line. But regardless of that, like going through the computer, looking at the intel and like actually clicking the intel and reading it and seeing like what it's talking about and how it's going to affect the level is really cool. How when you talk to people, I like that it doesn't tell you what you're going to say, because at the end of the day, you're playing Michael Thornton, you're not playing as yourself. And I can understand that in a game like Baldur's Gate or Fallout, you want to know exactly what you're saying because it's a life or death situation most of the time. Whereas in this game, I'm playing a spy, and I know that even if something bad happens, I can figure it out. I like that it's based on personality of like, do you want to be a James Bond slick talking guy, or do you want to be Jason Bourne, or do you want to be this angry Expendables ass dude? Like you can choose based on the dialogue of that, and the voice acting very carries this game a lot. Voice acting is, for a lot of the characters, it's like really, really good. And I'm not normally a voice actor guy.
Yeah, the voice acting, the performers I thought did a really, really great job with a lot of the lines. It really, I feel like there was direction where they're like, okay, read this like it's a B spy movie, you know, like it's a B, like it seems intentional. Sometimes it's better than you think, and other times you're like, oh, they read that weird, but it felt on purpose.
A lot of Michael's lines are very weird, especially if you choose the suave options like I did a lot.
Oh yeah,
they sound like he's saying it sarcastically, like
yeah. That is what it sounds like. Yeah, but the dialogue is strong. It's definitely supposed to be like corny a little bit. Some of the lines are just like you know, Elise was listening to some of it while I was playing, and it feels like a cheeky Marvel movie in some sense sometimes, with like when him and Mina are bantering, you know, it's just like, oh yeah, this feels like the
this feels like Captain America and Black Widow talking right now.
yeah, or something. Yeah, it feels
I'd say it's like kind of like a direct to DVD. It feels direct to DVD core in a good way.
Right.
Where like some people might feel like that's like it feels like a movie you would get from a bootleg back in the day. And you'll be like, I don't know what this movie, like Crank is it like, this feels like on the same level of Crank, where it's like, you could tell they're trying, but like, it just feels weird because it's not like the production value isn't all the way up there to like warrant it. And it's like, come on, he's fucking his girl in the middle of the thing to keep his heart alive. Like, That's dumb.
Classic
like
cinema moment.
Yeah, just like it's dumb that,
Right.
What do you mean you're not here to assassinate the president? What do you mean you're not here to assassinate the president? Then who's assassinating the president? Oh no.
This this game does that thing though where dialogue is often interrupted. People will be talking, whether like, your handler is talking to you while you're doing a mission, and then you get to a point and it just cuts it off.
Yeah, and it starts the next dialogue.
Yeah, I'm just like, no, what the fuck were you gonna say? Like, that bothers me so much in games in general. So I can't be like, this game is the only one that does that. But because this game is like, you want to know what people like. There's so many stakes on what people are saying and the information they're giving out. Nothing feels particularly throwaway. Like when they're talking, your ears perk up because like it could be a piece of information that you need, or because it's gonna come into play later in a piece of dialogue, or it just gives you so much context. So you don't want to skip anything really. And so when it gets cut off, just like great. That's fucking fantastic. But
I thought that the environments were inspired even though they look like crap. But that might just be because this game is 14 years old. So 14 years ago, this might have looked really good to me, you know what I'm saying? And it probably did when I first played it. I probably was like, yeah, this is good.
It was probably like, if we could put a grade on it, right? I feel like it's average. It was like a C.
Yeah.
It was like serviceable for the time. Not the best I've seen, but not the worst. I do want to add that it was cool when you're in specific environments and the people are, you have Mike speaking. There would be an echo, like a proper echo on his voice, depending on where you were at, and that little attention to detail isn't as common as you would think in games. Sometimes you just forget about it, but it added a lot. Like you go to Rome and you're in like these ruins, and like it sounds like they recorded or added something to his voice to give it that like reverberation on the environment.
Yes.
So it made it feel more like, okay, you're actually there and not just like this clean studio audio file. Like,
yeah,
it was clean. It was good.
Another thing I thought was, this is kind of like a gift and a curse when it comes to this game. The animations are pretty they're pretty locked in. I like them. They're pretty stellar. I like them. Though they don't connect well, I feel. Like there's certain things like how you could slide in the cover and like switch places. I thought that was really cool. But then also you get certain sequences. Like I specifically focused on close quarter combat. So I was always running up and punching people. Yeah. And you get these very funny scenes where you do the full combo and the guy, like you're locked into the guy to like do the combo, like your character is, but you're not hitting them because they're not locked in as well getting hit. So you're just like attacking them, but swinging at the air. And then I died so many times with this. And then the guy would like turn around and be like, what the fuck? Goof, shoot me. And I would die. But it looked cool, especially when you would run up and you beat the people up or choke them out and stuff like that. Like, I think a lot of the animations looked good, especially lockpicking or when you use your abilities. Specifically when you use like the pistol ability where you like freeze time and like can like tag heads on some Splinter Cell shit.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool. I thought a lot of it looked cool.
Yeah, there was there was a lot of unpolishedness to the animations, I would say. There are some good, like, okay, for instance, there's a good animation when he's swinging on his zip line and he like does a kick at the end of the sweep, like, at the end of the zip line, and if someone's there, he'll hit them, right? But it's pretty static. Like once he moves out of that animation, it feels a bit
there's a grip
rough.
That you have to connect out of.
Yeah, there's not a smoothness when you're going to like climb up like a set of like a ladder or something. The animation as he's on it is good, but like his segue out of that animation into a normal animation is janky, so it just feels like a little unfinished. But his like what is it, the crouching animation where he's like kind of running, and it just that animation feels so, it looks goofy as fuck, but also feels like that's probably what it would look like to sort of like sneak around.
Yeah.
Like it feels less stylized and more like they took a realistic approach, and like it's not a comfortable position to be like running but also like crouched.
Yeah.
And so he has like this little jaunt to him.
I like that there's multiple takedown animations as well too, based on how you take them out.
Nice.
If you're taking them out from the front or you're taking them out from the back.
That's nice. Yeah.
Did they catch you? I like that was, but I felt like some of them were a little long, but I mean, I felt like that kind of fit the cheesy spy movie motif that it was going for, because that's kind of how it is in those movies. They do the most neck chops and stupid shit. Like,
yeah. I think this game really, in terms of tone and presentation, I think it didn't really know what it wanted to be in terms of like a generic spy sort of thriller or a cheesy or corny one or a more gritty one. It never seems to like know what it wants to be within its own genre of like this whole spy world that it's in. So you get a lot of like these mix of weird things where it's like, oh, the dialogue's kind of cheesy and corny, but like the plot is trying to be really serious. And then you have like little animations, like the assassinations or whatever, the stealth kills that feel a little like hokey, and I don't know, it's just kind of really interesting. Even some of the gadgets can be a little
too futuristic for what's going on.
Yeah, a little too futuristic, a little silly.
There's actually some characters I feel that are out of place. Like, what's the Russian dude that you fight in his penthouse that captured Albatross? That guy, he felt really dumb. Like, he felt out of place in the game. But that's what I'm saying. He felt like a video game as, like, if that was the tone, is that we're going to be an over-the-top spy game. Like, he fits that tone. Same with C, the giant Russian lady with the LMG. Like, that fits crazy spy game compared to Albatross and the other dude that works for the evil corporation. What is the name of the corporation?
Halbeck.
Yeah, Halbeck, the dude that works for Halbeck. When you like have those conversations, I'm feeling like I'm really getting interrogated. I'm like, okay, I got to turn off my like suave. I got to be professional spy man now. And like,
exactly. Yeah,
it's a difference in tone. Like that's Jason Bourne as like characters, whereas you get over there and it's like, okay, that's a Jason Statham movie over there.
Yeah, even the little character Sis, or just like what, which feels very like 2010s, like that tone that they're trying to strike with her. It's just like a purple-haired teenager
hacker
as a spy. Yeah, I'm just like
with dual pistols, like that's weird.
Yeah, like what's the tone here? You have, because all the first characters you meet are tonally, and I guess it gets more into like the story and all that, but
and it is also dependent on what order you do the story in. Because if you go straight into Moscow, you'll probably be like, "What the fuck."
All the crazy people are in Moscow. Yeah.
Or no, because Taipei. What the fuck is his name? Hawker. What is his name?
Taipei.
The crazy American dude.
Oh yeah. What's his name? The guy voiced by Nolan North.
Yeah, that guy. He's like super crazy, and like you have to like. I like that his character. You have to like talk crazy. Hecker. Yeah.
Or Heck. I think it's Heck.
Yes, Heck. It's just
Stephen Heck. Yeah, he's crazy, but I feel like
low key he fits.
Low key, but almost not.
Like he fits in like the tone of like. Okay. Maybe this makes more sense if we take into context the other games that Obsidian worked on, like Knights of the Old Republic, Neverwinter Nights, blah 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 blah. They do have characters like this. Like Knights of the Old Republic, the Mandalorian dude, he's just like Heck, but in Star Wars, you know what I mean? Or
I see.
HK13? Yeah, like it's like a mixture of both of those characters put into one as a spy. So I mean, there's this archetype does exist in Obsidian's writing. So it's not out of their wheelhouse. It just feels weird because of the grounded, realist setting a spy. But I mean, we're spies. Like, it doesn't fucking matter, you know.
Let me take it back real quick to presentation with we were talking about Taipei and where you can go first. So you have Taipei, you have Moscow, and you have the Rome, and then the first place is
Saudi
you only
Arabia.
get a choice. Saudi Arabia, right? And I really thought this was a aspect of the game that shined, the safe houses, where you're in all these different locations, right? And every time you go there, it's a different safe house, and the safe houses all sort of lend to the spy fantasy in some sense. For instance, Taipei, you get there and it's like this, rundown small hotel with none of the luxuries that you were used to in the first safe house, which was Saudi Arabia. And then you go into the shower and it's a slow reveal of like this base, this high-tech spy base that you would see in like a fucking like Kim Possible or something.
Yeah, it's
like a very like
and shit when you ride a motorcycle out of it and shit.
Yeah, it feels very Batman-esque. Like it has that feel to it, but it was really cool. And then even Saudi Arabia's little safe house has a lot of cool attention to detail to what would to like a penthouse that might be in Saudi Arabia. There's a lot of cool details. I wish you could do more in these safe houses because it's kind of cool, like walking around, like, oh shit, okay, I got a whole ass bedroom over here. Got a a beautiful view of the skyline, in Rome.
Yeah, Rome, that was the one that I especially like walked out. Like when you have that balcony spot and you can walk out on and look around. Yeah, I thought that was really cool because I was like, wow, this really does look like Rome. Like it feels like Italy. It's just kind of cool.
Yeah, it was cool. It like it just has a really cool vibe to it, and it breaks up the pacing because the missions and where you go can sometimes feel a little samey, but I think having this sort of globe-trotting, spy thing going on really gives it a lot of second wins, I guess. Like let's say you start out in Saudi Arabia, and to be honest, some of the missions there like are a little boring, and I was like,
it feels very generic at first. Like if you get past the hump of Saudi Arabia, the other three main missions have very good set pieces. Like Taipei has the subway mission, then you go through the botanical garden, then you go through the hotel. Like there's a lot of cool spots there. Same with Rome. You go to the museum, or Moscow with the mansion. Like you have cool spots. So the missions aren't samey. I mean, they are samey in terms of what you're doing. Mm-hmm. But at least what you're looking at and what you're going through isn't the same.
Right, yeah. And it would be cool, with a lot of the levels do sort of just funnel you into one direction. There's not a lot of open-endedness to each level, which is a little disappointing. But you could tell that they were they were restricted by time. But they were cool. I liked them a lot. And I think it was one of my favorite parts of the game, just exploring those safe houses and then seeing where I was going to go next. In Taipei, that's the one where you're in the subway, right?
Yeah.
That final mission was cool. And I'm trying to think of where else you went. Oh, in Taipei, you go to the wrong side of the tracks. You go to like the bad, like the ghetto, essentially. You go to the hood.
Oh yeah, you do talk to the fucking triad people, and they're like, "Hey, go handle those guys."
Yeah, and it's crazy because the soundscape on that level is dramatic as fuck. Like you're hearing a baby crying and gunshots and women screaming and ambulances. I'm just like, what is this? I feel so like cartoony, but it sounds. And I was trying to think, I'm like, okay, what other game sends you to the hood and it fucking sounds like this? Because this shit sounds
The second site, you technically go to the hood, but it don't sound like this. It's pretty quiet.
Nah, they were like, let's put this on loop. It goes, I listened to it a couple of times because I was like, is this literally a baby crying, a woman screaming, gunshots, an ambulance sound, and then it just loops, and then it's just like horrifying. Just what, like who thought
Oh,
like
where you're
this is
shooting
okay?
and beating up people and talking over it and shit.
Insane, absolutely dramatic, and I don't know. It felt for some reason, it just felt. It's a really weird pull and probably no relevance, but it reminded me of Hey Arnold. There's like an episode where he goes like the bad part of town, and like they do like a little like, you know, the ambulance and like a baby crying, and it just feels like goofy, but
I know exactly what you mean, because even the Hey Arnold theme song is kind of sort of like that. It's got a lot of noises, like fucking crickets and like
yeah, well, because
cats
it's supposed to
screaming and shit.
right. It's supposed to sort of be like the sounds of where are they in Philly or New York?
Philly
I
or
don't know
New
what,
York or something like that.
I don't know
In
where
city.
they're at, but it's supposed to it's supposed to be like the inner city soundscape, which, you know, of course you got to have the sirens in there, got to have the people yelling and all that.
Gotta have the cars whizzing
very
by.
urban. Yeah, very urban, very urban. But it was cool. It was cool. I liked it. I liked that they went for it. It felt, I don't know why I'm like, this almost feels offensive in some way. Like it's a bunch of privileged white people and they were like, I'm pretty sure this is what the hood sounds like. I don't know. I've never been there. So just put this fucking
I swear to God, Sleeping Dogs came out the same year, did it?
Ooh.
Because Sleeping Dogs isn't
fucking
good.
play Yeah, like it's in like
No,
the,
it came out 2
yeah.
years later. It came out 2 years later.
Okay.
But it was announced by this point, because I remember this is back when it was like true crime Hong
What
Kong.
about any of like the Grand Theft Auto games, like the True Crime Streets of LA, like those games?
Yeah,
Is it
like
New
New
York?
York, True Crimes in New York definitely sounds like this. I remember
Has
that
this-
because
yeah.
it's this janky ass game and it sounds so fucking disgusting.
Damn, we should probably add that to the list.
No, we do not.
Both of them?
No, we do not.
Both of them suck? You want to put Bratz, but you don't want to put one of the True Crimes of LA.
But see, Bratz is endearing, okay? Even you'll play them and be like, there's a lot going on in this game. Hold on. Like, this is kind of cool. You got part-time jobs. You can fucking...
I watched
Roller
Elise beat
Blade.
that game. Oh, wait, no. She played Rockin' Angels.
Yeah,
Bratz
see,
Rockin' Angels.
that's the sequel to that game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you saw it and you saw it's a lot of shit in that game. You know what I'm saying? But I digress.
I want to highlight some of the missions for presentation. I thought the mission on the yacht where you're going to hunt that guy, Lazo, whatever the fuck
Yes.
it's called.
Yes.
It was kind of, I did really, it's not super detailed, but like there's like little things that really make the environment pop. So you sneak onto the yacht and there's obviously he has money, so there's like a whole like disco arena there, and there's like a DJ booth, bunch of lights, and then you go down to the second or whatever, you go down into the yacht and there's like a stripper dancing and he has like all this art on the walls, and then as you creep up into his room there's pieces of clothes all littered like up to his bedroom. It's like a, you know, like it's like a breadcrumb of clothes essentially, and you see him dancing with the stripper there, and I just thought like all like the little details like that were kind of fun. It was like, it's a very short mission, you know, it ends with you fighting Sis, but it was just I don't know, it just felt cool to me. Like you don't really get too many.
Did you sneak around that mission like stealthily?
Yeah, I played stealthily for the majority of it.
Yeah,
I
'cause that was the
tried
same
to.
way.
Obviously, it funnels you into playing
Oh yeah,
more
kind of.
different. But
Yeah, so I played that stealthily and like getting to that level and then getting the plot twist of like, no, Sis is out here actually.
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah,
Like that. It's cool. It's really cool.
right. When you're trying to escape Marburg's manor and you're going through his poker room, and it's like playing classical music while you're fucking shooting up everybody in the room, I thought was a cool little like cinematic piece. Just because up to that point the music isn't particularly great, but the music that was playing was like music that's playing in the game, like it's in the speakers in the room.
Yeah, it
as
wasn't like
opposed
it was
to
the
being-
soundtrack of the game.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly. Yeah, so it felt cool, like going through his mansion and just seeing what he has. And I mean, yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, it's funny because a lot of the levels feel like levels; they don't feel like real places. Like the way they're like, they don't. It doesn't feel like a house, except the yacht that felt like a proper yacht. But everything else is just like, this is awkwardly spaced, and I don't know why this is so big. It just doesn't feel like a real home.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
it
I just
doesn't have
wanted
the
to.
difference of there isn't like a other than the safe house, there isn't like a hub world. Whereas
Right.
like over Knights of the Old Republic or even Mass Effect, you have like the open world area on each planet or on each location, and then you go to like your separate little path into your linear levels, and then you come back, interact with characters in this area, then go back
Yeah.
out into those levels. So it feels different because it's like I'm just going to places. Like there's certain levels where it's not even a level; it's just a cutscene and a dialogue between like two people, and
Right.
it's cool because it's like, okay, I'm sitting at a table right now with the guy from Howback, but it's not like per se an actual level where I know exactly where I am or anything like that. Like there isn't any spatial awareness to knowing like what the time and place, but it just looks cool. And I do agree with you. A
Yeah.
lot of the levels look cool. So I mean, I at least gotta agree with that.
Yeah. Main thing I do want to add is that as I was playing this, I think my expectations were so low that some of this stuff impressed me more.
That is
Because
the
you know,
key.
I was just like, this is gonna be ass. I'm gonna hate it, or it's gonna, I was trying to go in with a good mindset, but I was also setting my expectations pretty low so that I wouldn't be like, this
I
is fucking
genuinely thought
ass.
this was gonna be Band of the Rack. I was like, this is confirmed Band of the Rack right
Yeah.
here.
I
I don't know. This is gonna be a hard choice this season.
I thought we were gonna end with a dud. I thought Alpha Protocol was gonna be like I can't finish this one, man. But no, it was definitely not that. And the presentation, there's a lot of little things, because it's ugly a lot of the time, but then it does these levels, and you're just like, oh, that was kind of cool little detail. Like, oh, it's kind of a fun place to be right now. Like,
Yeah, I'm running away from
you
a
know?
train, and I actually gotta
Yeah.
dodge it. I'm fighting, having a kung fu
Yeah.
battle against this other dude over in a like building across from the president.
Yeah.
It does a lot of cool shit, and I just think
Very surprising. Yeah.
we hear about the history, and I feel like it's gonna be a running joke too of like the hard shit. But like, if you just gave these guys more money, Sega, they would have made you a good game. And
Yeah.
you hear about the like cut content and all the extra shit with this game. You're like, yeah, that would have been a lot of cool stuff, like having a parkour system or having a female rival assassin that's going around fucking sabotaging you, or
Yeah,
you know.
you're Ada Wong or something. Yeah.
Yeah, like you hear about these choices, and you're like, yeah, that would have been cool if they had a little bit more money to flesh that out, but they didn't.
Yeah.
So
Nah.
this is what we got, and coming into the game expecting it to be shit, and it coming out and it's not. It's still shit, but it's not like. It's good. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's good.
it's good.
Yeah.
It's good
But-
for what it had tried to do.
Right. Yeah. Like, it's clearly unfinished and unpolished and has, bugs and all that. But it's a unique premise, one that I don't know that we'll ever see again. And if we do, people will definitely cite Alpha Protocol as doing it the first. Not that we don't have spy games, Splinter Cell, Metal Gear. But I think this really grounded approach that they took is still somewhat unique. And I don't know, it was cool. I think when I really started liking the game was when you're in Rome and you go to those catacombs, and I just thought that was so cool. Like, I don't know why, like going through like the catacombs of like the ruins in Rome was not somewhere I was expecting to go, and you're sneaking through like these, and the music changes, and I was like, I'm a little immersed right now.
Yes, yes.
Like,
See,
like
okay,
this is
okay.
so weird. I'm a little immersed. What is this?
Literally me, bro. When they gave you the 3 dockets and were like, you can go to Taipei to stop an assassination, or you can go to
Yeah.
Rome, and I was like,
It was
I gotta
kind
go
of
stop the assassination. That's the most prevalent one. Let me go there, and you get all the crazy stuff in Taipei. And then I think I went to Moscow right after that. So then I'm getting Albatross, and I'm getting the other characters from the old level popping up in this level, and I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
what the fuck? What's going? Like,
Yeah.
it quickly immerses you because of the story and because of the certain gameplay set pieces. You're like, whoa, I'm locked in. This is
Yeah.
cool.
Definitely. And then obviously a part of that is the characters and also the gameplay loop, which is basically being in a safe house, looking at your gear, maybe checking your emails, which I love. I love checking my emails and like responding and seeing what people
all
are
the
saying.
time.
I wanted more emails, honestly. I sometimes when I got back to the safe house and there wasn't any emails,
I was so sick. I was like, bro, you ain't respond to my shit yet?
yeah, yeah. I didn't know what the rate, and I wish you could respond to all the emails. Some of them you just could read and you wouldn't be able to say anything. But I thought it was really cool. The email aspect, it was very engaging and it really like brought me into the world, and I paid more attention. It was cool. I really liked it. But anyway, so the gameplay loop is you're in the same house, and then you are picking your gear, maybe buying gear, maybe buying some intel to help you on your mission, and then you pick a mission, you go do it, and then rinse and repeat.
Yeah,
and it's just like this very simple formula, but it works so well.
Yeah. I think I spent like 3 days on this game, and I think each day I did one level. Like I just kept going through, and then I was like, "Oh shit, I'm done with this level. Okay, cool. Tomorrow I'll play this level." And I was like, "Okay, Moscow was cool. Let's go to the next one." Because once you learn that that's the formula, is that I'm gonna go to the safe house, I'm gonna talk on the computer for a little bit, then I'm gonna go do a mission, then I'm gonna come back, then I'm gonna rinse and repeat. You kind of get locked in a little bit. You're like, "Okay, cool." Yeah, because it's not having to worry about like I gotta fight some trash mobs to get to the spot, or even we'll talk about it more in gameplay. But the RPG elements don't damper the gameplay enough. You can just play the game.
Yeah, agreed. So with that being said, let's move into our favorite section, story.
Yeah. First of all, we got to break down, what did you do? How did you play your character?
I was all over the map. So, in terms of, I was a field agent, and then I did, it's funny because I was a field agent and I chose stealthy, but then like, I think at the beginning you're asked like, why are you joining Alpha Protocol? And I was like, for the thrill.
Oh
for,
yeah,
like action and shooting and like.
Yeah, I think I chose the freelancer one too, where it was like I was just like a thrill seeker and like a mercenary or some shit.
Yeah.
And then I chose sometimes the spy or whatever the one was, the stealth focused one for the second class.
That's what I chose, and I tried to play to it, but I wasn't exactly clear all the time on who Mike Thornton was, and I guess you're obviously supposed to be able to like to form him in any way you want, like you were saying, you can either be like the suave or aggressive or professional. Now it'd be one thing if those three options were your only options all the time, but they're not. Yes. So that's like, and that's what gets confusing to me. When in the first couple of hours, you're not really seeing that pattern yet. You're getting all these different responses. Do you want to be, sarcastic, flirtatious, knowledgeable, questioning? Like, where do those fall into like the three main of being suave, aggressive, and professional? And so my character was just all over the map for a while before I could like really get the rhythm of like, okay, I see.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna go professional all the time.
Press square.
Yeah. Well, at first, I actually didn't. Yeah, I didn't know that. Go on.
Continue.
Oh no, that's all. I was just saying.
No.
I didn't know that. Nah. Once a podcast.
No, but fucking. For a moment, I was only pressing square. I was like, I'm gonna be a suave dude. I'm just gonna be a douche. And after a while, I realized, like, even the characters tell you, like, after, like, even if you try to go to the tutorial just pressing square, they'll be like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Like, stop being a dumbass. Like, focus in." Yeah, because I think I hit suave with the black dude in the tutorial, and he was like
Westbridge.
And he was like, you need to learn how to switch up and talk to people differently. And then I was like, oh shit. And then I did because like the first couple like choices, it was like dislike, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then I did professional for one, and it was like, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
I get it. So I have to I have to change my tone depending on the person that I'm talking to. I can't just go in. But I did for every girl. I did do suave because I was like, I'm going to make him an asshole. I'm going to make him a douche that
Right.
tries to like get in every girl's pants. But everybody else,
Yeah, it
it'll
was
be like, depending on the situation.
different. Yeah, I guess that's true. He does do that in the beginning where he does mention that. I just thought it was like a tutorial thing where he was just saying like, by the way, you know, but I was doing professional mostly. For I have no reason why. I never selected aggressive. There was a couple times I did suave.
I know, I selected aggressive a couple times. That's why I killed 2
Yeah.
people.
With this kind of thing, I think the story can really not work or be less immersive when 1 minute you're suave, but then the next you're like fucking losing your cool and killing someone.
Yeah.
You know, if it feels at odds sometimes. And even like within one conversation, you'll have a certain response and then they say something back and then you have another choice for another response and then you switch it up. You feel like 2 different people.
Right.
And they don't really know, they don't, like, characters don't say like, that was weird, you were so nice just 2 seconds ago and now you switched up and now you want to be an asshole, or now you want to like say some side shit.
Like on the like flash forward interrogation segments, there were some times where I would be like because suave to him was like being a smart ass. So I would be suave to him and then he would say something or like threaten something and then I would be aggressive to him because I was trying my best not to tell him the information. I was like, because I didn't know what the situation was at the time. I just thought I was like captured. So I was like, I'm not about to snitch on myself. I don't give a fuck if I'm a spy. So I'm gonna be suave or I'm gonna not answer the question and stuff like that. And you get some very interesting, like you said, tonal shifts of him being like, yeah, you're an asshole. You got a butt face. And then the next tone, he's like, I'll break your fucking legs. And you're like, whoa, calm down there, buddy.
Speaking of that interrogation, so the whole game is sort of structured story-wise. You basically you're on the run and you're visiting these different locations and it's moving along a story. But after every major event, you get a flashback, which is actually not a flashback. It's the present. And it's you and Halbeck, which is like the main guy you're trying to take down, in an interrogation room. And that sort of acts as like how did Mike Thornton get to this point? This whole structure that they have of like almost a Quentin Tarantino-esque way of telling the story, it didn't work for me because, for one, the dialogue system didn't work in those scenes for me because I don't know the context of why I'm there. I don't know
what happened with that character that they're talking about yet.
Exactly. No, I don't. He's mentioning names that I haven't met yet. You're supposed to respond. I felt like that's where the dialogue options felt contrived, because you need more information and context to be able to respond to this person. So it felt more stressful because I'm like, well, how did I even what am I doing here? Is this like a plan? Are we trying to trick him? Do I just not say anything? But then there's also, there's a dislike and a like meter to him. So I'm like, wait, do I want him to like me? Do I give him what? So it's the part that really didn't work for me. I think it's a really interesting decision to have it this way. Cause I'm like, how are you going to know how to answer some of these, withholding information, and even in the tutorial, Westbridge says like, sometimes you want your enemy to like you so you can get things out of them. But I don't even know what the fuck the context of the situation.
Yeah, at first I thought he was like some like government prosecutor or something like that.
Right, exactly.
I realized he's the antagonist, and I'm like, oh shit, it's a different context now. Once I learned that,
and I'm like, how are they just chilling in this room talking? What's the end goal here? I'm just not sure. Eventually, he tries to get you to join him, saying that you're a man of certain skill and you're hard to come across. Do you want to join me? I don't know if that's only because I said the right things, but
I was about to say, I definitely did not get that choice.
You didn't get that option?
No,
not that
for me, he was like, I get it. You're not going to, like, he was pretty much like, I get that you're not going to choose it. And then I think I like flipped the switch on him like before he could like finish that. And I was like, well, actually, I got you where I want you right now. And I like slammed his head against the table and like,
I hit him too.
I like ran out. So I think it all depends on what you do and what you say.
Right.
Because I had certain characters that were like friends of me, but then I had certain characters that were not friends of me. So it kind of like, it kind of built like this very interesting. That's why I'm so curious as to how your playthrough went and like what choices you made and stuff like that. Because okay, we got to go through the whole list. Let's go through it right now.
See, but that's the hard thing to know, because I didn't know for a while, and I wasn't writing this down at some point, but I didn't know what were the major choices. I didn't know which ones were the game altering choices, and I'm like, what am I going to write down for Sandy? And I don't know which ones are the big ones.
Yeah,
because there was a lot of choices.
I think the main really big ones for me were in Saudi Arabia. I killed the first guy, not the weapons dealer dude that you like shoot the RPGs to blow up his car or whatever, and like talk with him before that. I killed the guy before that, the informant. And because I was going to do like this, I was going to be like an evil guy. I was going to be like, I just do whatever. I take no questions. Right. I kill everybody that gets in my path. That's how I was going to play until I got to the weapons dealer. And he was like, bro, they just tried to bomb us. Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, yeah, you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
I need to play this a little more correctly now. Okay. And then I went to Taipei. So
he survived.
Yeah, he survived. And then I went to Taipei. Everybody survived there. The journalist hated me. She thought I was a douche. Every time I kept giving her all of my like intel that I would get from like missions to be like, hey, you should do something with this. And she would be like, why are you still sending me? Thanks, but why are you still sending me this? Like, I don't like you. And I'd be like,
that's wild. That's wild. What did you get for sending that?
So there was one time where I think I failed the mission, or like I died and I restarted from a save, and I think I sent it to the black market instead. Like if I sent it to her, I think she gave me like 500 gold or something dollars. And then if I sent it to like the black market, I got like $2,000 instead.
You got more money, yeah. That's what I usually do. Or Halbeck. Halbeck would give you a lot if you blackmailed them, which I ended up doing. I'm like, let me just get this money real quick.
I didn't even know that. I was like, I'm not going to give it to Halbeck. I'm trying to get rid of Halbeck. So I was like, I'll give it to the journalists. I can expose all of their secrets and stuff like that. Then I went to Taipei. So after Taipei, I saved everybody. And then I think I went to Moscow and I was about to kill Sis. Like I was like one button away from like it had a button that was like shoot. And then Albatross was like, bro, I promise I'll make this worth your while. And I was like,
oh, yeah.
I was like, all right, bro, you got it. And it did come back to my favor because Sis in the final mission helped me out. Like she gave me a coin and she helped me out with the final boss battle. Well, like boss battle at the time over there. And I was like, okay, that's cool. That's really cool. But or like same with Albatross. I did kill the guy in the mansion because he captured Albatross.
Right.
And then I fought C, but then she ran away. Yes. But like she liked me. She was like, that's cool. I like that you're a Mendy man. And I was like, okay. I was trying to kill you for real.
Let's go back to the first mission. I didn't kill Al Shahid. I can't remember the name. The main guy there, right? That you're after.
But you did kill the informant.
I can't remember. I remember the boss fight before that, but I don't remember what informant you're talking about specifically.
Because there was a guy before that guy, like the first mission. There's like a guy at the end of that mission that you're supposed to like kill or something like that.
I feel like maybe I did, and it was the only kill I had in the game in a cutscene. So I let him go. He became my ally. Then I went to Taipei. No, I went to Rome next. And then I was trying to get in the good graces of Marburg or whatever. That didn't do anything really, I don't think. I let Madison die, but I also romanced her. And this is the same time.
That's funny. I did not romance Madison. I chose every option but romance. I was like, bro, you need to stay in this fucking safe house. Like, I was like, get the fuck out of my way. Like, because at this point I realized that like Mina loved me or whatever. Because every time I would try to like woo another girl, Mina would be like, okay. And I was like, okay, let me stick with Mina. And so I let her die too. Because I was like, you're one girl. And I told you I had to stay home.
So, exactly. Yeah. Because there was the choice between saving a few and saving the many. And I was like, well, I'm sorry. I know I just slept with you last night, but I got to save these people. I can't just, if you're going to die, you're going to die. But at the same time, I did think that the way Mina falls in love with you, so, like literally after one mission or something, was so I was so blindsided by it. was like,
Yeah.
what, you like me now?
Yeah, I feel you on that because when I went to Taipei, I like immediately was greeted with the journalist. So I was like, okay, this is my other love interest I can have. It could either be Mina, it could be her, and there's probably gonna be
Right.
like I know the girl, like I saw from
A
the
love
cover, I was
triangle.
like, okay, it's gonna be the Russian girl, and there's probably another girl. So
Right.
like I was like, I'm gonna go for the journalist. I failed.
Yeah, so same. I also failed. Scarlet Lake, her name was.
Yeah.
I did think that Mina was like, she just felt clingy all of a sudden. So I would try to not romance her, but she was already like, you know, oh hey, like she was sending me emails saying like, hey, like maybe,
Maybe
like
when we
you
link
know,
up, we can,
yeah, basically saying shit. I'm like, wait, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, you'd be
I liked it
cracking,
because
like,
it felt like,
borderline sexual harassment in the workplace
Yeah.
emails to her, and she's like, ew, not on the work
Yeah.
computer, and you're like,
it was
bruh,
super
not
weird.
okay.
Yeah. And then she also, I don't know, like I never just got the vibes that she liked you to begin with. So the pivot was pretty sharp.
Yeah,
It was
unfortunately,
cool that she was
my
helping
romance
you.
option,
Was
and she died at the end anyway.
Well,
for me, she
yes, they
died.
shot. Yeah, she died for me as well. Got shot in the face.
Yeah, and I was like, that's your fault.
Yeah. Which was crazy. So both Madison and Mina died for me or
Mina was on screen.
Mina died off screen.
Yeah, Mina was off screen, but whatchamacallin was
Madison was like
was
in a
on screen.
cutscene. Yeah.
But see, the thing about Mina, and that's what makes me mad, is that I didn't even realize she died until I read like the after mission synopsis of like all of my choices.
Wow.
And I was like,
didn't
wait,
know?
she fucking died?
Yeah. They show like a little TV in the screen, and he's like, oh, you're gonna actually, I accidentally let her die because there's a point where you're supposed to make a decision, but I didn't know which way was what decision.
Yeah, I think that was the same issue I had too. It was like, you got to go save Mina or you got to go stop
Yeah.
the dude. And I just
like, I
went
don't know
into a room and it was the dude. And I
It
was
blocked
like,
you out,
okay.
yeah. Yep. Yeah, it locks you out from that. I'm like, I didn't know that was going to be the choice.
Yeah, I didn't know there was alternate paths.
Yeah, so she died for me. I tried to romance what's her name? C, but she didn't like me. And I was like, all right, fine, whatever. I felt like she just came and went so quickly. I was like, okay, I guess. I thought she was gonna have more of a role, but she didn't. And I don't know if
She
that's
probably did have more of a role because there was like certain points where it's like, do you call her or do you call Albatross?
That's right. That's true.
And I was always like, I'm calling my nigga Albatross, bro.
Yeah,
he's got a whole fleet. He's got the whole MI6. Why would I not call him?
Yeah, Albie was my nigga for sure.
Shout out Albatross.
He was like my main. He was like my main handler. I saved Sis. He loved that. Sis loved me. She gave me like her little necklace. Did she give you the little necklace?
Yeah, and he was like,
He
she
gave
gave
it
you
back,
that?
yeah.
And I was like, yeah, bro, because I'm like that.
He's like, yeah, he was all shocked and shit. Yeah, I like that the relationship wasn't clear too. I'm like, wait, is he fucking, what is this, father figure?
Yeah,
romantic figure? What is going on here? It's a little weird.
She's a child. Hello.
Yeah, I don't know how old she is, but you know, you're pretty old, so.
Yeah, you're a groomer.
Let's see what else. I killed Lazo.
Yeah,
No,
I killed Lazo.
Not Lazo. Who's the guy that was hopped up on coke?
Lazo?
Is that Lazo? Oh, I thought Lazo was the guy that was on the yacht.
No, you went on the yacht to get Lazo, and then you meet Sis. Like he wasn't
Lazo
on the
escape?
Yeah, it was like Lazo was supposed to be there, but he wasn't there. Sis was there instead.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And then
wait,
you pulled
who the
up.
fuck was that person at the end?
What dude?
So
you talking about Marburg?
So I'm on the yacht. No. Marburger's the old guy. So, or the old.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. And he has like the the golden Uzis, and he like, or the golden AK, and he like there's like actual licensed music playing or some shit. I forgot the song that was playing. I know you're talking about. Yeah. I killed him.
So
he captured Albatross. I was like, I gotta get him.
I let him live, and I told him like, give me all your funds, essentially. Or actually, he offered all his funds to me, and I was like, cool, I'll let you live. Let me take all your money.
Yeah, I killed him
nothing
to show
came of
Albatross.
Like, really?
Albatross like sent the whole army for the final mission for me because I was like, bro, I'm a shooter. Look at this.
Yeah.
I got you. And he was like, all right, bro, I'll help you out.
I don't know if I got the whole army. I feel like I got a lot of people though that were there. There was like a lot of people in like gear and shit,
Yeah.
which you definitely needed because the game turns into fucking an action game that last third, or that last third, I would say.
Man, that shit was
It
easy
just
as hell to me.
it was easy, but it's just like you can't sneak, you can't fucking stealth your way through it, and that was where I put all my points. So I was just like running and gunning.
You ain't learned the
You know?
cheese. Here's the cheese right here for
What'd
you.
you do?
You use the silent running. You just sprint to everybody, take them out before they can see, and when silent running runs out, then you use the invisibility, and then you take out the next ones. And then because I had close quarter combat, so as soon as like it's like a big group or like an area where I have to fight everybody, I would just rage, which slows down time and makes me like super like durable, and then I would just run up and beat the shit out of everybody.
I love that we had the same abilities too.
Yeah, and if I really had to shoot somebody, I would use the pistol one, and that's it.
Yeah, I didn't use the silent running too much. I feel like it was helpful at certain times, but I don't think that there's so many times that I would still get caught, and I'm like, all right, well, either restart or fucking just start gunning them down.
I never restarted. So I just thugged it out.
Oh, really? Yeah, there's a couple times I wanted to keep it stealth, and then at some point I was like, fuck this, let me just get through this.
Yeah,
because clearly there was some like I don't know, something I liked about the game, which is more on the gameplay side, was that the things that you like, certain actions you took in the game gave you perks on top of that. I really like that system where it's like, oh, like you get or like if you did a lot of silent kills, or if you answered this way a lot, or if you picked up a lot of like just really cool little perks that feel tailored to your gameplay experience that I wish more games did. And I don't know that many do.
I think the only other one I can think of is, but it's more cosmetic, is Fable, the very first Fable.
Yeah.
Like if you max out your fireball skill or whatever like that, like your shoulders get broader, or like if you wear heavier equipment, or like when you fight in battles, you get scars. Yeah. Like it was like small cosmetic things like that, but it wasn't like anything that like really dealt with the in terms of like gameplay changes. Like certain things like in this game, it's like, hey, if I romance this person, or if I shot a bunch of people or beat up 100 people, then I got 10 skill points. It's like, whoa, okay, right, that's a lot. That's build changing right there. So I like the story. I like the story a lot. I think the story carries this game a lot. Absolutely. And I think in terms of what was popular at the time, because you had Mass Effect, and I think there's other games that are going to come out soon, like the Bureau XCOM and stuff like that kind of take in that Mass Effectian dialogue wheel approach to dialogue and character writing and stuff. So I think it's different enough and it's engaging enough to where like we just did just now, where we don't even really talk about like what really happened in the story. It's more like, oh man, what happened to you in that situation, or how did you combat that thing, or how did you talk to this person? And it's it's been a while since we played this game, so it's kind of hard to really pinpoint exactly what we said and what we did without looking at the gameplay we recorded and stuff like that. But I think it's a really good story, and I think on a replay, this is one of those games where you replay it and you play it completely differently, where you're like, okay, this time I'm going to be aggressive and I'm going to play it guns blazing with the shotgun, and it's a completely different game. Like you might actually like see what happens if I kill Albatross. How does that affect the game? Does Sis become like a crazy person and tries to like take me out randomly during the mission or something? Like what happens?
Yeah, I do want to replay it and I want to pay more attention this time, because there were so many things that I think might have gone over my head as I was trying to piece this world together and really like let it wash over me, really soak it in. I feel like that's a me problem. Sometimes I feel like I'm a bit slow on the like picking up like, what is this world? Okay, who are you? Like I need to see the names a couple times, the organizations a couple times to make the connections. Yeah, but they were like name dropping a bunch of shit. I'm like, who?
There's a lot of pronouns. There's a lot of
I'm like,
there's a lot of real world knowledge that you need in order to go into this game, because you need to know about politics and you need to know about certain countries and how their counterintelligence works. before going into this game. You can't just go in this game and be like, yeah, it's cool, it's whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like a James Bond where it's like, all this shit's fictional. I don't give a shit. But this, some of it is based in reality. So it's like, I do need to know who the CIA is.
Yeah, your enjoyment would vary. Or I guess your enjoyment is enhanced if you know more about the espionage sort of scene. Let me tell you about my ending, and then we can move on to gameplay. Let me tell you. Well, I actually want to hear how your story ended. So mine ends with Sis saving me from I'm on like the operating table or whatever, you know, James Bond style, legs and all that. She lets me free, and I grab my equipment, break out of there. I get Albatross to call his boys, and he helps me out. We storm the outside
of Alpha Protocol or whatever.
Yeah, and then we get inside, and I can't remember anything else that would happen there.
There's like a fight. That's because that's what it's split between like saving Mina or like going to go stop. You know, it's funny. The tutorial, there was this dude, and I don't even fucking remember I don't even remember meeting him. The electronics dude.
Oh, the analyst.
Yeah, the analyst. Like I don't even fucking remember like fighting him, meeting him, but I have to fight him.
Really?
Now. Yeah.
You had to fight him?
Yeah, I had to fight a bunch of turrets, and then I had to run in the room and beat him up to like stop him.
Oh, interesting. I convinced him to help me. I was able to convince him with all this intelligence.
I've never interacted with him until that boss fight. Like I didn't even know he existed until I looked at the dossier, and I was like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
The only time you interact with him is in the first. Well, the same with Darcy too. You don't interact with Darcy until you interact with him in the beginning and at the end.
Yeah, I killed Darcy.
Like that's pretty much it. Yeah, I killed Darcy as well. Annoying ass fight, by the way.
I'm hip. Most of the boss fights, we'll talk about it in gameplay. Most of them are ass.
So, anyways, killed Darcy. The fucking analyst helps me out, and he's not a boss fight, but they're in that same room where you're talking about, like with all the turrets. There's a bunch of men that come out and are trying to kill me. So basically, still a boss fight in some sense. And then I defeat Halbeck. He has the rocket launcher in that like docked area. He's trying to escape by boat. And then Scarlet Lake comes on in and fucking shoots. She kills Halbeck.
Scarlet Lake wasn't even in my ending, bro. It literally said Scarlet Lake doesn't respond to your text messages anymore. Like,
yeah,
he did not pull up.
Scarlet Lake isn't a journalist in my story. She was a double agent, a contractor. She was a contractor. Yeah. And Halbeck hired her to kill me, but we offered to pay more on that very last like cutscene, you know, and she's like, all right, well, Halbeck still hasn't paid me, so I'll take your contract. And she shoots him in the face, and that's how Halbeck dies. I don't even kill him. Crazy.
What the fuck?
It's crazy.
I didn't even know that existed. Bro, I literally thought she was just
actually
like freedom for writing.
This is how it happens. After I deplete Halbeck's life, we go into like whatever room that he's in, and she comes in and shoots me, and I'm like, oh fuck, right?
Oh shit.
And then Mike Thornton's confused, and I respond or whatever, and I convince her to kill him, and she shoots him in the face. And then I ride off into the sunset on a boat, and I was like, that was underwhelming.
Bro, so for me, yeah, I shot down his helicopter or whatever. So like none of that shit with Scarlet happened. I killed Darcy. Hold on, I gotta scroll through my shit now because that just threw me off for a loop. That was like, that's such a big difference compared to mine. I went through like a bunch of shit, and then at the end I fought what's the guy, the black dude? I fought the black dude, Yancey. Dude? Yeah, the main like dude that you fight in like the beginning.
Westbridge.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I fight him and I kill him because he's like, well, no, I don't kill him. I like chain him up or whatever to like the thing. And I'm like, you're a bad guy. I'm taking down Alpha Protocol. And then I get on the boat and then I leave. But most of what happened was the same, except for the fight with Parker and the fight with Scarlet Lake and Halbeck and stuff like that. Like Halbeck, I just shot down his helicopter and they were like, yeah, that dude's dead.
That is, wait. Oh. Okay, so that's different then.
Yeah, like
I was
I don't
just-
even get like a scene of like looking at how big, and he's like, "Wait, don't kill me" or nothing like that. I get nothing. Like he's just gone, bro. Like I
That's
just
wild.
shoot down
And
his helicopter, and they're like, "That's it."
there is a helicopter that I shoot down, and I don't know if he was in it or not. I can't remember, but we're at this dock, and he's sitting up in this like. We're in these like underground docks where like boats would be released, and
Yeah.
he's in this like control center, and he has this whole rocket launcher, and he's shooting at me, and I cheesed it. I like hid behind this pillar just enough
Same.
where
I did just say.
and then yeah, but you're saying he just dies off screen, or wait, is his name Leland or Halbig? I think Halbig is the company. Leland is I don't know. Anyways, yeah. So that's
Or
yeah, that's
Westridge or
happens.
whatever.
Westbridge is the black guy.
Okay. Yeah,
That's the black
I don't have a scene with him, bro. I just beat Yancey, and then I like tie him up, and then I get on the boat, and then I go, oh, here we go, right here. Yeah, okay. So he after I beat Yancey, I do see him, and then I just beat his ass to death. Yeah, I just beat him up to death. Yeah, I just that's it. I just beat the shit out of him until he dies.
That's
Damn,
wild.
yeah, and I just slammed him into a computer, and oh yeah, I do put a bullet in his head. Okay, yeah, I do kill him, and then I leave. Okay, that's so interesting. See, this is what I was talking about, and I think would the difference be because of the order of missions that you did? Like because you did Rome then Moscow. Did you do Rome then Taipei then Moscow?
Rome. Yep.
Yeah, I did Taipei, Moscow, Rome, and Albatross was a big like factor in Rome. Like he was there, and he was like doing a lot. So like that's what. But Scarlet like just disappeared, and I don't know if that's because she disliked me.
Yeah. See, Rome was like because Rome was or Moscow was my last. Wait, so Moscow is where you meet Albatross, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so I had not that much time with him, pretty much because that was that last mission, and then after Moscow, I went straight into the Alpha Protocol final mission.
Yeah, and I
So
didn't have a
that
lot
many-
with C because you meet her in Rome, and that was my last mission. So I just had the one mission with her, and then I was like, yeah, you can call her if you want, but I was like, eh.
That's wild.
See, that's what I'm talking about. And then the second playthrough, I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna go aggressive, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna.
Yeah, I'm gonna do soldier. I would do soldier for sure, and just go guns blazing and just
Yeah, I would
fuck this
definitely
stealth,
fuck with
honestly.
like C. See what goes on with her. See what happens with the Russians and stuff like that. I think that'd be good. I think that'd be fun. See,
Maybe.
this is the highlight of this game, and this is why this game is fucking cool as shit.
Yeah. It's well. I mean, these types of games are always fun to discuss with your friends when you have different options. Like, oh, I chose this, and this is what happened for me, and it's not exclusive to a game like Alpha Protocol, but it is definitely the highlight.
It's more unique
and
than Mass Effect because in Mass Effect, I guess because it's also built on a trilogy,
Right.
you're kind of like, I need to min-max low-key the best way to ensure my odds going into the next game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need everybody alive because I don't know who's going to be in the second game, and I need everybody alive because I need to make sure who's in the third game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You kind of min-max like your relationships with everybody in preparation for the next game. Whereas this game, you're just kind of like, whatever, if they die, they die. I can just replay the game.
True. It's also, I think the story and all that is brief enough that it's not like this 40 hours RPG of just like, okay, I'm not going to replay this anytime soon. You could play it twice reasonably and still be under 30 hours. I think it's because it's pretty brief. It almost, when you go to each of those
12 hours, I want to say.
Yeah, I think it took me a little bit longer, as always. I don't know how long because there was no timer, but I want to say it probably took me 20 hours, I would say. But I restarted a lot because... Oh, I was going to say each, like Rome, Taipei, and all that, I really thought there was going to be like more missions. Like, I was always a little underwhelmed when I went into each one. And I was like, wait,
there'll be a
there's only like 4 missions? Yeah.
There'll be a London mission or some dumb shit.
This game has no fat, I will say. It's lean. Like there's
straight to the point,
no
but it's good.
Straight to the point. Yeah, there's not like a lot of side shit that has you distracted. It's just like every mission is gonna add to something. Like there's no extra shit. Like everything is like straightforward, which good and bad, but
But side content in this globe-trotting, super secretive, I have to stop the president from getting assassinated as story wouldn't
yeah,
feel right. Where it's like, that's why I chose
no,
Taipei
no,
first, because it's like, that seems the most pertinent to
pressing.
choose. It's like, bro, they're about to assassinate the president. Let me go stop that. The rest of these sound like I can do whenever.
By the way, were you able to convince? Did you get to speak to the president to try and
Yeah.
convince him?
I
And
spoke
he
to the
was like,
president,
and he
and
was like,
I
"Nah,
was
I
able
don't
to
want. I
convince
don't
him to
believe
wear
you."
protection. So he
Same.
survived the shooting, but he still wanted to do the thing. And I was like, all right,
Oh wait,
bro.
wear protection?
Yeah, so he got shot, but he was wearing like a bulletproof vest, so he was all good.
Oh, he did it in mine. He got more guards. He hired guards, but he didn't wear bulletproof.
Yeah, for me, he hired guards and he wore a bulletproof vest. And when he got shot, he was like, "Okay, I'm good though. Like I'm not
And do you
injured,
know who
but
shot
I
him?
did get shot." No, still don't know who shot him.
Scarlet Lake.
Is that what happened in your Taipei? Because for me, my Taipei one was me having a Kung Fu 101 duel with the Taipei Dragon, whatever the fuck his name was. I forgot his name. And then both of us, once we finished the fight, he was like, "I was sent here to stop an assassination
Domu
attempt."
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, he was like, "I was sent here to stop an assassination attempt." And I was like, "I was sent here to stop an assassination attempt." And we both were
Yeah.
like, "Well, if you're and I'm, then who's?" And
Yeah,
then
then
that's
who?
when she I guess she shot him,
sneaks in,
and
yeah.
I was like, "Oh shit!" And then she disappeared. That's so interesting, man. Now her whole character is like way more different, because I thought she was like some freedom fighter journalist. That's probably why she didn't give me no fucking money for half of the shit, bro. Because she didn't give it.
Yeah,
she was like, "Thanks for the intel." Wow.
It's they. I wish they would they could remake this game and give it a slightly more like cinematic flair. Like some of these cutscenes could be so cool.
Yeah.
If they just had a little bit more of that edge, like that you would see in like a more modern game.
Or even if I saw the sniper rifle and I could like kind of see a dark silhouette of like, it might be a person or something like that. Like that would have been cool. But for me, it was just a shot. You didn't even see the shot hit him. It was just like you see the shot and you see all the people below like scrambling, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I fucked up, I guess.
Yeah. By the way, I played that same mission the same day that Donald Trump's no, I'm just kidding.
I was about to be like, oh shit. That boy put the controller down and was like,
I'm the one. I did it.
it's like, no. So with gameplay, this is probably where let me talk about the positives first before I go on a tangent about how horrible a lot of this game is in terms of gameplay. But the Intel system I thought was super cool. I really like the Intel system. Like that wasn't hyperbole. I really did like it. I thought it was cool that it changed the way that you navigated the maps. Like there was like one where you were leaving like a mansion, I think Marburg's mansion or something like that. And there's hidden entrances in like the gardens and stuff like that you could see on the map, and then you can sneak through instead of having to go through the garden with all the cameras and super guards and turrets. You can just go through the secret entrance and sneak out and skip like half the level. I thought that as a gameplay system, it was really cool. Same with the skills. I thought the skills were cool. All of the skills, at least the skills that I was able to use, I thought that all of them worked in a way that amplified the gameplay enough without completely breaking it. Though some skills get like super broken, like stealth, where it becomes like, yeah, I'm invisible for 90 seconds towards the end of the game and stuff like that. I felt like it was kind of like, okay, that's absurd, but it leads into the power fantasy of what it is. But
you earned it.
Yeah, exactly. At that point, you're maxed
you're pretty
out.
deep. Yeah, you're deep into the game and you're maxed out. I didn't max out any of my skill trees, but I got pretty close with stealth. But I gave up at some point. I was like, "This is not working for me. I need to invest some into the assault rifle or something." So.
Yeah, I beeline just that in course quarter combat, and then once I maxed both those out, then I went into pistols because I was like, oh, put it into something else. And yeah,
It would be nice if you could respec, but I guess it makes the decision more weighty.
at least one time.
Right? Yeah, right. Just one time. I mean, I have to agree with you, man. The intel is such a simple mechanic, but it feels so like appropriate for a spy thriller game like this, a spy RPG. One of my favorite games, Deus Ex, has a lot of some of the mechanics in this game. Deus Ex Human Revolution and Mankind Divided. I love both those games, and they have like a lot of spy elements to them. You can play as like that, and it's obviously like a sci-fi, cyberpunk, kind of game. So it's a bit different, but I love the idea of going onto your computer, going into like these black market digital storefronts and buying shit, buying like, oh, let me buy, the like
this guy's going to sabotage the cameras, and this guy's going to
did
take
you,
out some of the guards.
I liked reading like the history, like they had like little like, oh, this guy's about to quit or he's fed up with this, and then there was actually, if you go to your email and look at the intel, there was actually like a little like an extra layer of story of why they did what they did, or like
I love the explanation of like why exactly this intel is working in your favor.
Yeah, that's I love that. I loved the game, not the game over screen, the status screen at the end of each mission, like the results, and just reading like all the different things of like, oh, this is what you did, and this is what you did, what has a negative effect and what has a positive effect. There's not many games that are like that. The only thing I can think of is Until Dawn, and like those types, they don't even have that, right? Like a mission thing at the, like, it shows you like, oh, this, you unlocked this effect, but like in the timeline, but it doesn't show you like a rundown of everything you chose, right? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I know Detroit does that, where it has the actual flow chart of like, so after you finish the level, it shows you, and it's like, oh yeah, you skipped all this part, like all of this random shit could have happened if you chose this dialogue option. So I mean, certain games do it. I think Mass Effect 2 does it at the end of the levels. I think it goes like, hey, I forgot
this
all
is
the
what you did.
name. Yeah.
I just like the recapping. It's cool. I think sometimes it's almost like this game knew like, okay, there's a lot of shit going on, so it's nice to give you like a recap of like why you were there, what you chose, what that accomplished, and what's next. Like, I love that, like, cool. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm here for. I know what I did. It kept things flowing nicely because I always sort of knew like, okay, so this is what we're doing next. Got it. I'm not lost. Like, I know what we're doing.
Yeah.
I think that
I do like the customization, even though it's very bare bones. I do like that there is some customization to it. And speaking of customization, I do like that the RPG elements aren't as ingrained as other games of this genre, of this era. Like, it's a espionage RPG, but you don't really have to RPG. Like, even when I got a pistol, and even when I used the pistol, I didn't really upgrade it as much. I didn't feel like I needed to use a pistol, or like I needed to get the best upgrade and min-max my accessories, or even the accessories that was on my armor and stuff like that. I could just buy what I was like, okay, this one upgrades my stealth the most. Okay, I'll get that one.
Right.
Yeah, so I like that because it allows for you to play the game how you want to play. Like, I'm not locked. Just because I chose this class doesn't mean I'm locked into pistols like it is. And say, I keep referring to this game like Mass Effect, and I need to stop. But in a game like Mass Effect, where you choose a class and it's like, no, nigga, you're playing with shotguns now. That's it. You know?
Yeah.
In this game, I can play with whatever. Like, I can use a shotgun for this level and then switch to an assault rifle for this level, or SMG or whatever like that. So I like that.
Okay. I feel a little, I think I deviate a little bit in that I thought whatever I was going to put skills towards, like a pistol, a shotgun, that I had to stick with those. And it wasn't until later, after I was getting frustrated of dying so much, because I was trying to stealth an action section, that you could switch to any other weapon and it would be just as effective. Like, I switched to the assault rifle, and I was focusing on pistol and shotgun, and my shotgun and pistol had a good amount of points into them. So I was like, if I switch to the assault rifle, it's gonna be ass. But I switched to it anyways just to see, and it was like, I was like, what the?
Yeah, it's a
Why
pretty
did I put points into everything else? If like, it was a little frustrating, and I think it also undermined like the 7 points I had put into all my other like weapons. Because ultimately the assault rifle was so overpowered and so effective, and even more effective when I started adding points to it. And I didn't need to buy even a new assault rifle for the remainder of the game, so it was a little broken in some sense.
No, yeah,
I never
most
had
definitely, because I put 0 points into my assault rifle, and
yeah.
it helped me out through like most of the game. I could
You
shoot
didn't buy a new one?
No, nothing. Once
Yeah,
I got the
same.
golden assault rifle, that was it. That was my assault rifle. But I
Exactly.
think for me, pistols felt weird because we talk about skills and stuff like that, but like the skill tree system is kind of locked into how good you are with the gun. So like using a pistol and upgrading your pistol, you are going to be more accurate with a pistol. You are going to shoot better and do more damage. But I don't know if it's just pistols, but but to me, that's why I was stuck with close quarter combat, and I almost was about to drop this game. Like I was about to shit on this game a lot until I switched to close quarter combat because it was. I think every gun in this game felt like shit. To be honest with you, it's more so in a sense of that I could tell the RPG elements are hindering the gunplay of this game. Like I can tell it's tied to it, and I could tell that if they tried to take it apart from that, it would fuck up the rest of the game. You know what I mean?
Like with balancing, damage output? Okay.
Yeah, because you would be too good and you wouldn't rely on stealth or anything like that. You would just run and gun your way through the game. You would just play this like Dark Sector instead of playing it like Alpha Protocol, where you have to meticulously plan your routes throughout the level and stuff like that, you know?
And that's where I was drawing comparisons to Metal Gear. Specifically Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots. The aiming reticle and the way you use guns in that game, it encourages you to not play it like a fucking third-person shooter. You know, like guns blazing. So the aiming reticle isn't this simple like circle with like it's literally like a box, and every time you shoot, it's like you don't know, you're missing, you know, it expands exponentially. So it felt similar to that, not as polished, obviously, you know, but it felt very similar. I think that there was sort of well, actually, real quick, I did like the mini games because we're already going into negatives, but I didn't say my last positive. I liked the mini games. They get repetitive and they get a little tough at the end. And I know it's not a popular opinion, as I've seen that the mini games didn't work for a lot of people and they didn't think they were the best. But I had fun with them. I wish there were maybe more variations, but like the hacker one where you're like looking.
I really like the hacker one. Once I got the hang of it, I was like, this shit, min.
I felt good. I felt like a hacker. It felt like it was hard, but it felt like it was easy enough to where like, okay, I got it. Like I just felt like it was cool to me.
Once you understand the eyesore that is looking at it with all the numbers moving and trying to find, like, once you understand what you're looking for, and there's a certain pattern to like where they're going to be in the hacking puzzle. So after a while, it's kind of like, okay, cool, I got it. It's just about speed now.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm switching over to negatives now. The lock picking.
That's hard because it is based on a shitty control or my shitty
and I'm
controller.
using a third-party shitty PlayStation 3 controller. And from what I hear, the Xbox 360 and PC versions are a lot better in terms of triggers and using to do the lock picking.
Seems like it'd be better with a DualShock or a DualSense with like the resistant triggers.
With the
like
adaptive triggers and stuff. Yeah, like it would fit perfectly in like a remaster now. You would be like, oh, this is easy. Wow. But there was a moment where, you know, there's a video of this little kid, and I don't know what game he's playing. I want to assume it's like Tekken or some shit. And he's crying and jumping around, and he's like,
I have not seen it, but you'll have to put it in the video.
I'll put it in a video. But fucking, that's how I felt playing this game when I got to that point. I was like, I can't, like, I almost quit. Like, I was like, bro, I can't do this. Like, I literally there's points where you have to lockpick to get to the next section, and I'm like, I can't do this. I was getting caught because I was like, okay, I'm gonna break into the safe, and it's like, fuck, I got a lockpick, fuck, and then I fuck it up.
Alarm goes off. Yeah.
It was so bad. Like I was screaming, like I'm yelling. I'm like, yo, fuck this game. Like I grabbed.
You didn't put any points into espionage, I'm guessing.
I did
Sabotage.
put 3 points just to get the little make it hacking and lockpicking easier. And I also equipped the accessory to make hacking and lockpicking easier. And it was so bad. I like threw. There was something in the room that I threw. And Devin
let's just say I don't have a PS3 anymore.
Dev came in the room and she was like, what the fuck is going on? Are you okay? And I was like, I started spazzing about the fucking lock picking. And I was like, this shit is so fucking dumb. And she was like, I'll sit down with you. Anytime a lock picking comes up, I'll do it. I explained how it works. Because the first time she did it easily. She was like, you're just fucking trash. Like,
yeah. You just suck. You just quit playing games. Yeah.
It's like she did it. And she was like, that wasn't so hard. And I was like, okay, cool, bet. So then we were playing through the rest of the level she's watching. She's like, this is cool. And then we get to the next lock picking section. I'm like, yeah, lock pick that safe for me real quick. And then she had the exact same situation as me where she's like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, so it's not just me, right? So I got to the point where I put EMP charges on all of my item wheel. I had, like, I was EMP on all of them.
Crazy.
So that I can, if I saw a lock picking mini game, I could skip it.
Nuts.
Everything else, hacking, all that other shit, I did it. But lock picking, no, I can't do it. I can't. Even in a replay, I'm going to put all EMP charges on that because I would refuse to play that. Unless I play like a PC version and it's like easier to do on mouse and keyboard. Other than that, I wouldn't.
You know which one I didn't fuck with that much? And that really got me caught more than the lock picking actually. Was the circuitry one. The one where it's like it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then you have to like look at where it leads and select the right circuit.
Yeah.
That one was such a mind fuck for me all the time. Like I couldn't.
That was actually my favorite one.
It just
I really
didn't work
liked
for
that
me.
one. That was like I would go through that shit so fast. I'm like, oh, got it.
Yeah, I couldn't, like, I didn't struggle with it as much as maybe you struggled with the lockpick one. You know, I didn't have Elise come and do it for me, but it was definitely it was annoying at some points, and yeah, but I don't know. Overall, I liked the mini games. I thought they were great. I really enjoyed them. I bet you like there's a video or something on YouTube of like all the lock picking in video games or something. There has to be like a video that talks about lock picking in video games.
You know,
underrated mechanic.
In today's YouTube, there's gotta be a guy that's like lock picking in video games, and he just goes through every single game. And it's like in Fallout, they do lock picking like this.
Exactly. Yeah, I would love to watch a video, or like maybe like a hacking mini game or like video where they talk about all the ways that hacking is expressed in video games. I've always liked the way, dude, you know, actually lockpicking, Dying Light 2 has a lockpicking mechanic, and you do it so much, it's so unbearable. And you're basically like you have the two little things, right? And you're like,
is it one of those ones where you got to twist the one and then twist the other, and you got to feel the vibrations to like actually get it? I hate those ones. It's
so painful. Dude, I'm going through fucking like lock picks. I mean, luckily they're cheap to buy and you have so many, but I'm just like, what? This is so
just
annoying.
Give me like a little thing I gotta like flick up, or like a fucking. Just give me like what did Dark Sector? Didn't Dark Sector have a? We played another game that had a hacking mini game, and it was like a circle. And it's like you just press the circle like 3 times to like put it in place. Like, just give me something simple, bro. Don't make me really pick a lock, bro. Like,
I think I think we have to do a new category in the BOTR Awards of best mini games.
Honestly, I'm so with it, because now it's making me think about the rest of the games you played, and I'm like, hold on,
I can't think of
mini games.
Any other mini games,
bro. Another game this season had a mini game, bro. I swear, Death by Degrees had a fucking mini game, bro.
Yeah, for sure it had to have. For sure. Because it's like a spy game. It had to have like a...
It's had to have had lock picking. I can't remember it to save my life. That game is a blur to me now.
That was the first one. First one of the year.
We did play it in like January. It's like September now.
Doesn't Dragon's Dogma have one?
Nah, it's just
It's
nah.
just-
It's just
No? Okay.
yeah. You just go in, man.
All right. I was just hoping, kind of.
Praying.
Okay, so keep going with your negatives.
Yeah, the game's just ass. I'm sorry. Like animations is ass. Combat
Wait,
is ass.
You
Oh,
said
I mean,
animations were...
yeah, but in like they were good in terms of like how they look, but in terms of gameplay,
How they feel.
how they feel, it's ass. It's a very glitchy game. Actually speaking of final bosses and everything being different, yeah, Yancey, when I fought him, he glitched out of the world and he was just floating in the middle of the ocean, and I just kept headshotting him because he wasn't in cover anymore or on a giant turn.
Nice.
So I was able to kill him, and that's the only way I was able to beat that boss because I kept dying on it. Or
That's how I beat Marburg. He got stuck behind... He glitched out and he glitched back in, and then I went to like this closet, and he wouldn't like get close.
oh, he
And
just
he
kept
was,
like
he was like sprinting at me, and I was just able to like take off all his health or whatever amount of health. But
that's kind of how I had to cheese Damo too, because he kept sprinting back and forth between the different ways. So I would throw incendiary grenades, and then he would like freak out because he was on fire, and then I would run up and beat him up, and then I just had to keep repeating that until he died. So yeah, like I said, every boss fight feels like shit. The gunplay feels like shit. One of the mini games feels like shit. Like and I think I've come to this like weird conclusion to where like I can't. And hold on, I wrote this down somewhere because I'm trying my best to not do this when I like play games. Is the peak end rule, which is
What's
a
that?
rule where, let me get the proper definition before I give the niggified definition real quick. It's a psychological heuristic in which people judge an experience largely based on how they felt at its peak or most intense point. And that's very easy to do with a lot of video games. You know what I'm saying? When you get to the end and you get to those difficult sections where they test your skill and ability, and you're like, man, fuck this.
Right.
You start to judge the game based on that part, and you're like, man, that I just did it. I literally just did it today with Hotline Miami 2, where I was like, man, fuck this game. But I'm like, no, just because I didn't like certain gameplay changes doesn't mean that I didn't think that and this is the same situation with this game, that the narrative isn't amazing, that the story and the characters isn't great, that there isn't a lot of redeeming qualities that come out of this game. Or even Dark Sector, to bring it back to the rest of this season. Dark Sector is another game where I feel like it tries to do something, or even this entire season is exactly this peak end rule in full effect, where Dissidia, Dragon's Dogma, Death by Degrees, Breath of Fire, Dragon Quarter, Dark Sector, all of these games, they all do something unique, something cool, something interesting, something that I've never seen done in any other video game still to this day. And they kind of get lambasted because they're not polished enough. They get put into obscurity because there's certain design choices that aren't normal, or, are a little weird, that kind of fuck up the rest of the experience for the average gamer. But it doesn't take away the fact that Nina Williams wasn't in her own fucking spy Metal Gear Solid ass game, or that Breath of Fire went from a turn-based pixel RPG to a tactical roguelike RPG dungeon crawler, or that Dark Sector became Warframe. Like, all of these games have something. Everybody just played Dragon's Dogma 2 and loved it for 2 months. I mean, for not 2 months, 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, But it said the exact same things that they said about Dragon's Dogma 1 about Dragon's Dogma 2. Like, I don't know, man. I'm coming through a breakthrough point in like game analysis as we play Back of the Rack a lot and we go out of our wheelhouse more into more obscure. I don't want to say more obscure, but when we go out of our wheelhouse more of like what I'm used to playing, I'm starting to come to understand that it's okay. Like, I'm shitting on this game a little bit, but it's okay because I had a lot of fun playing it because of the story, because of the parts that were good. And when the gameplay actually worked, it was a great game to me. I honestly was about to put it at like a four out of 5. Like it's a great game to me. Like, I feel like everybody
wait. 4 out of 5 or 4 or 5 out of the what?
Yeah,
You're
like
saying 4 out of 5.
Yeah, like I would put it at like a 3.5 star. Like a 3.5 star. I give it that. I give it that just based on the merit of it doesn't do what it's supposed to do greatly, like a lot of games would. Like, it's not polished, of course. Obviously, that's why it's on Back of the Rack, but
yeah, sometimes I think that it's hard, well, because we're doing a couple things. One, we're judging a game through the lens of Back of the Rack, which is these games that are already sort of like alienated because they did something different, or they're not polished, or because people expected something of it and it wasn't that. So we already sort of had to judge them on a different, on a different
it's
standard,
already coming. Yeah, it's already coming in at a handicap. It's already shot in the foot because of sales or reception or wherever people felt about the game. But it's like, but really, like, it is still a great game.
So when we judge games on here, it's really based off the other games that are Back of the Rack. It's not like we're not comparing Alpha Protocol or whatever other games that we've reviewed in the past. We're not comparing them to like the Red Dead Redemption 2s and like the fucking
or even games of the time.
Like,
like we're never comparing this to Red Dead Redemption 1 came out around the time of this game. Like, we're never comparing it to that, or like GTA 4.
Because it just doesn't compare to those at all. They're obviously, I mean, again, they're Back of the Rack games, or Back on the Rack games, as I should say, since we're doing a collab with them. And I don't know. And that's how I judge these games a lot of the time. I try to remember that they're ass and that they're likely going to be shit. And sometimes I will genuinely not like it. Dragon Quarter was the one for me this season that I was just like, I just cannot, like, I can't fuck with this. Regardless, I knew it was going to be quirky in some way, but you and me still want to enjoy our time with the game and find something new and find something, find some good ideas, because I feel like a lot of these games have interesting ideas and it's fun to explore how they work and how they don't. But I don't know. Are those all your gameplay thoughts then? Surmised?
Yeah, summarized. Because, I mean, I talk about game feel a lot because the systems work. You know what I mean? Gunplay didn't feel good to me, probably because I didn't upgrade gunplay a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't upgrade. Like I didn't customize my guns.
You played the game wrong.
Yeah. I played it trying to be a melee nigga, and that's probably why melee felt good to me.
Yeah.
Whereas to you might be like melee felt like an afterthought.
Yeah, melee felt. I think the like when I would punch and stuff, it just felt like it never was connecting. Which I think was more of an animation issue. I don't know if that.
That's the same issue that I had as well too. Even with upgrading my combat and stuff like that, it felt like a lot of the times. But you got more hits in your combo, so it kind of made it a little better. So like even if you missed the first 3 attacks, the last 2 would hit, and then you can reset the combo and do it again. So that kind of saved it a little bit. But I mean, like I said, I didn't upgrade gunplay, so gunplay felt like shit. You didn't upgrade melee, so melee felt like shit. I didn't upgrade sabotage, so lockpicking felt like shit. If I probably upgrade sabotage, it probably was like, oh yeah, shit's easy. I just press a button and it just,
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I do think that at the core, some of these mechanics are not fully polished, and so they feel gross. My controller doesn't have a
It doesn't have vibration either. Okay, we got the same third party
Yeah.
controller.
No.
Mine doesn't.
Mine is actually an
Oh, you have
official
a legit.
PS3 controller, but it's the 6-axis, the first ones, and they didn't have vibration in them, which is so weird. Yeah,
I have
there
a
was
third party
whole
one
run
that
of
doesn't
them.
have vibration in it, so I just gotta it's like I turn it off most of the time anyway. So okay,
Oh, do you? I
Yeah.
think vibration really adds something to certain games. Actually, to most games,
vibration,
I like
motion blur. I've started to try to keep motion blur on because I understand that it's trying to do something artistically with motion blur, but
it. Yeah.
sometimes, like especially with PS3 games, I'm like, bro, that shit is tearing the screen up. Let me.
I thought, yeah, I usually turn it off for PS3 games for sure. But yeah, let me run through my negatives real quick because they're pretty quick, but there's some things that I had about them that were different from yours. For one, I think that stealth largely is held back by the camera and the inconsistent enemy detection. I think it would have been nice to, and we talked about this earlier, to reply to every email. It seems strange to me that you can only reply to a handful of them.
Yeah,
I don't really know why that was. But it would have been cool if you could just like reply to all of them. Like I don't see why some you could, some you couldn't, some you didn't get responses back. Felt half baked. Not being able to close doors while you're in stealth was also a huge miss.
okay, I
think
thought
it
I was the
closed
only one that
off-
was being crazy about that shit. I thought that
No,
was really
no.
weird. That it's like, why am I in a stealth game and I can't close the door?
Yeah.
Or like
Yeah.
even like pick up a body and like hide it. But I mean, I guess they don't really
Yes.
see the body, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Yeah. Luckily, they don't detect the. Wait, I think they do see the bodies? No.
I think they see if somebody's missing. I think they go like, "Hey, wait a minute,
Okay.
John's supposed to be here. I'm on yellow
Okay.
now." But I don't think that
Right,
they
right.
like see his
Yeah.
body and freak
So-
out.
So I think because of that, stealth options feel very, very limited unless you're relying heavily on like what you said, which was just going invisible and silent running. I think it was really annoying to me that there are forced shootouts. That there should always be a stealth option or some other option. Being like, all the bosses pretty much like if you were playing stealthily, it's like, nope, now it's all about action, like
you have
straight
to shoot them
shootout.
because they're not even close for you to do close quarter combat. You have to shoot them. Oh, you only brought a pistol? Sucks to
Yeah,
suck.
yeah, exactly. And it's fucking. You didn't bring in. You just brought non-lethal rounds. Well, you're kind of fucked here. So it doesn't make any sense why they did that. It felt like they ran out of ideas, or they couldn't. They didn't have enough time to think about stealth options for these boss fights. But I think it really undercuts the whole like fantasy of being a spy. And then not being able to move the sniper rifle is crazy to me.
Bro,
Like,
I'm
it
hip.
being
Why
like
is it
a
static?
locked-
What the fuck? Bro?
like it's a turret. Like
Yeah.
what the fuck is this?
What the fuck are we
Like
doing?
not having it as one of your weapons that you can buy, because I'm sure they're like, this is about to be OP. Like this is
Yeah,
gonna be insane.
Because you would just use a sniper rifle and assault rifle, and you would just snipe everything that comes by.
Yeah. So they obviously needed to balance things out, and that decision was made because they didn't have time to balance things out. Which is just funny. Because that sniper rifle was overpowered. Sometimes I was just like, this thing is silent, it's powerful. Like the enemies can't do anything about it.
And it's got
Like,
hella
that is
ammo
just
for like a sniper. Like for a limited
Yeah.
weapon, you would think it would have like 3 or 4 shots. That shit has like 20.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. But that's all I have for gameplay. I do agree with you that it's a little bit janky. I expected it to be as much. I have trouble saying that it's bad entirely. I got used to it at some point.
Yeah, because
I don't think I minded it too much.
Yeah, because that's what I was about to say. Like, when I'm thinking about it in a review sense, I do say that, where I'm like, if it's bad. Like, if I was to describe this to somebody, I'd be like, it's kind of bad. But
It's a little rough. Definitely rough.
that's a better adjective. It's rough.
Yeah.
It's
And I think-
unpolished.
And I think it comes out more in the boss fights for me, when you're forced to adopt a certain gameplay style.
Yes.
And then I'm just like, oh, great. I have this shotgun and I need to get close when I'm getting fucking mowed down. And, you're forced to. It's like now you're being punished for your decisions of being like stealthy or close quarters, which you can't be with almost any of the bosses.
Yeah, I think the game does. Honestly, for me, I feel like the game doesn't really click until you're a couple levels in. Like once you're in the second choice of the three that you can choose, I feel like that's when the game like really hits a stride, and it's like, okay, I'm good now, because by that point you have enough upgrades to that whatever your
Right.
play style is,
Yeah.
it's going to feel good now.
Yeah.
Your guns are going to be more accurate, or you're going to hit more with your bullet melee, or you're going to be able to stealth more. But before that, it's like, I kind of just got to thug this out for the story. And that's kind of how I felt going through it, especially with the first boss in Taipei. I was like, I got to just thug this out until we beat this game, man. And it finally hit. But I don't know. I guess this is an interesting thing I wanted to say. Does a game necessarily have to feel good to be good?
I would say so. Yeah. Think all the way back to Tetris. Imagine if that shit was janky and it's just like, I just can't even get this. Or Pong. Like if you're like
Well,
the game
Pong
needs
is
to be
kind of janky
responsive.
because you've got the fucking dial.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that was archaic because of the controls.
That was the first of its time.
But yeah, the controls are, like back to Tetris, the controls are tight, they're responsive, and I think the tightness, the polish, so that you need to be able to do what your character needs to be able to do what you're inputting, or whatever thing that you're operating needs to be able to operate responsively and timely for it to feel good. Game feel, I think, is like when you say if a game needs to feel good, it's one thing, but I think different games have different game feels, like certain first-person shooters feel a bit slower and they're a bit more deliberate, let's say, and some are more arcadey, and that's a preference thing, but that's the intention,
Yeah. I mentioned this because
like,
Fatal Frame doesn't feel good to me.
Yeah, and I think
I still felt that was a great game, and like you said, it's probably an artistic choice.
Well, you thought it didn't feel like to move around, or what do you mean?
Yeah, like in terms of like moving around and like messing with the ghosts and stuff like that, like
it was a little clunky.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like in terms of like, especially, yeah, I guess like when you look at like later Resident Evils and stuff like that, where it's like, okay, that feels good. Like I'm moving. As a third person, I'm moving, but Fatal Frame, it's like, hold on, now I gotta get the thing, and then I gotta get the ghost in my, but I guess it still was good to me, and it still felt, I don't want to say felt good. It didn't feel good, but it felt like the right tone for that game, because it was trying to invoke a sense of horror. You know what I'm saying? It was trying to do something different.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I think that sort of depends too on like your preferences and your subjective. Like, okay, Zenless Zone Zero for me, right? I know why people don't like it. I know why some people do. For me, it's a specific things that I like in a game, right? That I'm just like, I like this, and I don't care if it has these other things, and it's whatever. But this is the thing that matters most to me in a game, so it feels good. And it's a good game to me. I think on my own standards, I think it's like a really good game with obviously some caveat or some negatives. Something like Fatal Frame, I understood that it's tank controls, and it feels like it's tank controls, and tank controls are a genre convention of survival horror from like the 1990s and into the 2010s and coming back even. So it's like, if you don't enjoy those controls, you might not really enjoy or think that those games feel good in general, but you might still like the atmosphere, and maybe atmosphere is more important to you, and you're able to overlook the fact that it's tank controls, and it's all about preference, It's just like some people that just like Call of Duty might be like, nah, tank controls too slow, not twitchy enough.
This Valorant shit feel weird, bro.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's just it really game feel is really about preference, and I think if you play a certain type of game a lot, like if you play a lot of Overwatch and then you move to a new type of game, things feel different. Things feel slower or faster, or your character has like doesn't have enough speed to them. So there's all these like elements that really just go into what makes a game feel good, but I don't think that it necessarily will have to mean that the game is good or bad just based on it feeling good. But I don't know. I think as I'm speaking about it, it is a bit more nuanced with what in a game feels good. We're talking about movement. Are we talking about mechanics, reward systems? Are we talking about sound? Because that obviously plays a big part into how we perceive certain things happening.
Accessibility. There's so many.
Yeah,
there's so many
things
factors
that,
when it comes to game feel. Because certain things, like for example, I was just talking with you about Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 soundtrack, and Sonic Adventure feels better to me to play than Sonic Adventure 2, even though Sonic Adventure 2 is my favorite game of all time.
Whoa. Okay.
Like it feels good because and the levels are designed more openly of a 3D space, whereas Sonic Adventure 2 starts to prefer the linearity of later Sonic games. Whereas Sonic Adventure, you could spin dash jump into a building over here and then spin dash jump and dodge this entire section and then go over here. Like there's a lot of expressiveness with the characters as well as the stages that allows for you to do more than a Sonic Adventure 2 would. Because Sonic Adventure 2, I would have to rely on glitches or exploits or whatever that have you in order to get that same openness of Sonic Adventure 1. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that says it all, is that game feel isn't a priority for you entirely. It's not like let's say if there's 3 things that a game needs to be, game feel is probably not at the top. And so a game could not feel up to your standards or preference, but if that shit has a good soundtrack and an atmosphere, you're like, I'm here for it. It's my favorite game ever now.
My 2 tenets. I've come down to understanding my 2 tenets. Is it cool and is it fun?
Right, which is sort of like, that's sort of like mine. Although game feel, I think, is a bit more important for me in certain
game feel. At least I think
certain things.
I think game feel starts that second tenet of is it fun? Like, because if it doesn't feel good initially, you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm having fun with this.
Yes,
but you know, like a Devil May Cry, when you immediately get control of Dante and you're beating the shit out of stuff, or you know, you jump into Bomb Rush Cyberpunk and they give you that little open area to try out and learn how to control the game a little bit. It's like, okay, I'm getting the feel for this. All right, I'm getting in there.
Right. Yeah, it is interesting, and that's definitely a good status check topic.
Yeah, we should have saved that. I should have pinpointed that.
To break down game.
I'll elaborate on that more for our next status check. I have another question that I want to ask you that I think will be...
because we have a bunch of games that we've been playing and talk about, and I feel like if we talk about it here, it obviously takes away from poor old Alpha Protocol. Can't compete.
I'm well respected and I'm not...
Exactly. Well respected.
Not neglected.
Long neglected. Yeah. A game that everybody heard of but no one played, which is true.
I
don't know a lot of people that played this game.
This is the mantra of Back of the Rack, bro. Like,
it is very much.
Everybody heard of a hater, no one heard of and loved, because
I should put it, you know how we have, for the intro, we have like the spinning games in the beginning. I should put it as one of them because I feel like it really does encapsulate a game that like everybody heard of. It was advertised well, but no one played it. But then there's a few that played it that loved the game, a deep love. Even though I never met one of those people, but
I'm about to say, you always hear online people are like, bro, Alpha Protocol was so fucking cool, and it's like, no, you didn't play that. What YouTuber told you it was cool? Stop lying.
It
Now,
has
Fear Effect
novel
was
ideas.
a game that I can agree. Well respected and
but-
long neglected. Is it well respected?
I think so, right?
Final Fantasy 12, I can say that everyone's heard of, and a lot of niggas hate that game.
We should we should for our next status check, we should figure that out. And then we can cuz I don't know what I have for the spinning games in the intro. I think it's like
I know you have
Batman,
Evergrace on there, and I feel like we really
Evergrace.
have to play Evergrace one day.
Well, yeah,
Right.
obviously that's why it's on there. What else do we have? I think I have Fear Effect in there.
Nah, I think it's
Chorokyu's in there.
I think it's like.
Chorokyu.
Hold on, let me pull up the. We don't even know our own intro, guys. Ha ha. Welcome to Back of the Rack, a gaming podcast about games long neglected and not respected. Look, that. See, I look up Back of the Rack on fucking YouTube, like I'm not subscribed, and the first thing that pops up is the Back Rack Inc. truck racks, no drill installations. What the fuck is Back of the Rack? I had to scroll to the second page. Like, I don't have notifications on for our own channel. Crazy, right? Crazy.
That's why we only have 330 people.
But then I switch to the Back of the Rack channel and I look up Back of the Rack, and guess what pops up? First link, Dragon's Dog.
Maybe that's because
bro?
That's wild. That's wild.
It's that motherfucking bullshit, bro. That I be talking about, bro. It's Batman Rise of Sensu, Evergrace,
Okay.
and Dirge of Cerberus.
Okay, Dirge definitely deserves that spot.
Dirge definitely deserves it.
What else?
Rise of Sensu
Just those
does not
three?
deserve it. Yeah, it's just those three.
Oh, okay. Evergrace, I don't think it's a game we want to play, but I mean, there's definitely better title. Like
Like an Easter
Alpha
egg.
Protocol could take Evergrace's spot, I think.
It's like a little Easter egg of like,
You're saying Batman, Rise of the Sensu.
just not get it out of here, bro. That's
not
banned
Motor?
from the rack, bro. That shit is
Alright,
banned.
that's fine.
It's not even supposed to be up there, bro.
Would you recommend Alpha Protocol?
I'm going to be like everybody else, and I'm going to say yes. You should play Alpha Protocol. Like, you know, out of me curmudgeoning and shitting on fucking the gameplay a lot and some of the presentation, it's not Alpha Protocol's fault. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
when you know the development history of the game and you understand that Sega cut like $500 million, something crazy. It was like a lot of money that they cut from the game, and they also like were stretched thin with staff because they were working on 2 to 3 games, and there was also a side staff working on building blocks of Pillars of Eternity and Fallout New Vegas. And it's like, when you getting all niggas was working on 4 games at one time, bro. Like, you
See,
you gotta give it to him.
When I compare this to our previous game, Dragon Quarter, Breath of Fire, right? I feel like that game had all the money and all the development time, and I think the ideas just don't work. But I think Alpha Protocol's ideas work, and I think it just needed the polish and the time to implement and to really get things right, and the manpower, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely
agree with that. Wholeheartedly agree with that. Even though I really have a guilty pleasure for Dragon Quarter, I do agree that because it took me a while. I had to be 27 years old in order to fully understand it. But when I was 17 and 16 playing this game, Dragon Quarter, I hated it. I don't want to say hated it, but I was like, this doesn't feel good. This is
Right.
We've all played that one JRPG that we rented or we just picked up from the store, and we were like, I don't really fuck with Arc the Lad.
Right. Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes it just takes a little minute for a game to hit you a little bit differently when you're in a better headspace, when you've played more games, when you've experienced more in life. You can understand what a game was trying to do more. And I think Alpha Protocol is a valiant example of that.
Yes, absolutely. I think now that we know more about the development, just gaming economics, and I think as games are sort of becoming more, what do you call it? This is not the right word. homogenized as they're sort of becoming more
No,
similar.
that's a perfect
think
word
playing-
because they all have live service battle pass. Like I literally just looked at a video
Most of
today
them, right.
of Star Wars Outlaws expansion roadmaps, and I'm like, nigga, show me the rest of the game. I am not convinced to buy this game yet. But you know, everything's got a battle pass, everything's got a DLC roadmap, everything's got to have
Well, even like the gameplay
multiplayer.
systems, right?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Gotta have crafting, gotta have gear scores, gotta have that yellow rarity.
Although I am gonna get Star Wars Outlaws, I think. I don't know. I might wait.
Wait for Black Friday when it's like $20. I have
Yeah,
two copies
that's
of
true.
Star Wars Squadrons, so, and I didn't pay for either of them.
Oh, did you get it from that box?
Yeah, I got it both times, and I was like, "You already sent me this," and they were like, "Oh, my fault."
Well, you can. We have a lot, so
Yeah, just fucking take
a
it.
lot of copies. I would recommend it. I would recommend Alpha Protocol. I think you should play it. It's novel. It's fun. You know, it has a lot of interesting ideas, and it is a game that really feels of its time with its writing, its tone, with its jankiness, its it's screen tearing, you know, depending on what you play it on. I don't know if it had the same issues of screen tearing on like Xbox 360 or PC. I'm sure it didn't.
Yeah, PC probably's got like some 4K
Oof.
dumbass mod or
Six-
something like that that smooths it all out. And
Yeah, that'd be nice. But no, I think you should definitely pick it up. It's super. I mean, it's cheap online. This is a game you could pick up for less than $15-20. Add to your collection. Because you never know when it's gonna be wiped from the face of the
make sure you
archive-
buy
or-
it physically, because you never know.
Yeah, you never know. Even though you just own the piece of plastic and not the not the game itself, you just but you know, the license, you just own the license essentially.
Yeah.
But it's nice, you know. I know not everybody can have a PS3 and buy a fucking, especially because PS3s have actually jumped up in price.
Or the Xbox 360. Might be cheaper on 360.
Yeah, 360, but
You
it's
can probably
fun.
play
It's
it on
fun.
Xbox Series X or whatever
Yeah.
the fuck. That
And shout out
ecosystem.
to who played it. Who played it on our Discord? Did Amphi play it on our Discord, or
somebody did.
did I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who else is playing along with us. Probably nobody. You know. You know, I thought Cade was, but he hasn't said anything. But I know Amphi is I know she's a fan of this game. I think. Oof. I feel like I'm. No, she is, because she likes all the Bethesda, Obsidian.
Yeah.
Shit. I don't know.
Maybe it was her. Maybe it was her.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, that's all I got to say about it. I think.
Touche.
And this is our last. This is the last episode of the season. So we're
Before
not
the
gonna see you
Halloween
guys-
episode, we'll see you guys on the Halloween and award show.
True. Or we're probably there's gonna be a couple of status checks. I think that'll come out in time.
Of course.
So we'll see then. But this is it. I hope you guys enjoyed the season. It was the disappointment arc. Oh no, wait. What did we call it? The disagreement arc. Even though we pretty much agreed on this game, though, I would say.
Yeah.
What
I
games
guess
did
so.
we disagree on exactly? Hold on. What?
I think maybe Death by Degrees and I think like Dragon Quarter are like the only two. And Dark Sector. I think I wasn't really high on Dark Sector like that.
What did we say about Nina?
I
We
don't know.
disagreed on that?
Did you like Death by Degrees?
I remember it fondly.
Yeah, me too. Maybe
don't
it
know,
was
I
just
think-
Dragon Quarter and it was just like a big turning point of like, whoa, maybe
Because we don't.
maybe we
we
can
agree
both
too
disagree
much.
on this.
Maybe-
Yeah, it was like
Maybe
wait,
next season we should just just like on some shit.
Actually,
Ryan.
I don't like Sub and Night Swordcraft story.
Oh shit! All right, we're going long here.
Adios.
Peace. Shout out to the Discord. Thanks guys for another season. We'll see you in the next one.